All right, what's going on, everyone? This is Zen here from Zen Multiverse. Hope everyone is having a great day. So we are doing a first of many kind of podcasts when it comes to X-Men 97, but also other kind of like animated TV shows and things of that nature. So we're gonna go over some of my favorite clips from X-Men 97. Those of you who have any kind of interpretation based on the episodes, but also want to deep dive into some conversation, I'm also going to be letting folks come on to kind of do like a multi guest uh, if they're inclined to, right? Um, no, so I'm pretty hyped overall for X Men 97. The show seems to be something that is not only doing justice for Disney and Marvel, but X Men 97 is something that I would say in general is uh, bringing a lot of folks who have that nostalgic memory, like myself, of the X Men TV shows, and is coming back to do it justice. So I want to know, everyone in the chat who's coming in, what are your thoughts on X Men '97? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is it underwhelming or is it overwhelming in a really great way? Uh, my personal thought is that, again, I am thoroughly excited for it. I have not seen anything that makes me feel like this was a broken project, but if anything, that this was a great project for Marvel in general, because watching X-Men 97 makes me forget that we have the MCU in some type of way. It honestly does. Uh, like, I'm not even thinking about the next possible Avengers, their main threat, live action stuff. It has been completely overwritten by just those first two episodes of X-Men 97 because my kid self has now felt a sense of return, right? In terms of the episode. So, one of the things that we're going to do right now is we're going to watch the intro for the X Men 97 TV show, kind of look at it, analyze it, and let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section as we start to, yeah, just kind of relive uh, I don't know, our love. Chico says, "Oh boy, where do I even begin?" Just by beginning, brother. Just by beginning. Let's talk about it. Let's jam out about it. All right, let's get started. Let's do it. Let's watch this intro, team. Skip intro. Like whoever skips the intro for X-Men in general. The Porter says the best thing out of Disney since Endgame. Ah man, I honestly agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. Black Archer says the animation is more fluid than the original series. Yeah. And for a second there was something about it that I wasn't clinging on when I first watched the first couple of trailers, but I was completely it's I'm just wrong. I was wrong, right? I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. Brokeback Boy says they respect Cyclops. Listen, I have a personal gripe with the whole entire planet. Cyclops has always been my favorite character, and all of a sudden, people are hopping on Cyclops. Like, my boy has always been that guy, the GOAT, right? But I must say that the X Men 97 has brought a trend to Cyclops that I am loving 100%, right? Queen Claire, what is up? That got his girl to, yeah. Let's watch this intro and then let's jam out and talk. And those of you who want to hop in, feel free. I'm gonna be, bringing on some people for about like 5 minutes to just give their thoughts. Don't be shy. Free and safe space here. But let's do it. Tiff, what is up? Just watched it last night. Yeah. I gotta talk about Morph. We gotta talk about Morph too. That intro is absolutely amazing. Okay, that intro is absolutely amazing. What are your thoughts, chat? And back to thanks for the three lightning bolts. Please don't me let make you. Oh man, that was a quote. That was a quote back by Magneto in that episode. Tiff, thank you for the heart. Thank you for the heart. Yeah, I saw that comment earlier. Yeah, it makes you feel like a Saturday morning, right? Now, I wanted to challenge myself to watch the episodes on Saturday mornings, but I was like, nah, I got to drop all those two episodes as soon as it dropped. I just went back to back, right? Thanks for the friendship necklace, Tiff. Shout out to Tiff, and for the four roses. So, some people, I'm just reading some comments. Remember, if you want to hop in, kind of talk about it, feel free. We're just kind of doing a X-Men 97 TikTok podcast, so feel free to jump in if you want, just to give your thoughts about it. Pammy, thanks for the donut. Appreciate it. Thank you. Showed the ending. Next was good. The ending. I don't have the. I'm gonna look it up a little bit later, but Cyclops was still sharing gene with Wolverine. Well, that's a thing in the comic books. A lot of folks don't know about that, Rob. A lot of folks don't know about that, but it is something pretty good. Not good, but I guess what am I talking about? It's something that's in the comic books. You know what I mean? I gotta watch this. Talk about it. I gotta rewatch it. Don't remember too much. No, but that's okay if you don't remember a lot about the old show because I think they give you a fresh start, right? Watching X-Men 97, you can just jump into it, right? Will you be missing out on certain elements? Probably, but not too much that they don't mention other than Professor X's death, right? But here's my thing: is Professor X really unalived? He isn't, right? Uh, from my understanding, watching the old animated TV show, he was on death's bed, but the Shi'ar Empire took him because they have the technology in order to bring him back of sorts. And I think that's what's going to happen in the TV show eventually. But what other thoughts? How are you guys digging X-Men 97 so far? Uh, my favorite, my favorite two clips I'm gonna show off in a little bit have to do with Storm and also my boy Cyclops. Right? Everyone is on Cyclops now, but again, I have gripes about that. Right? Just in case people are confused about the whole Cyclops and his powers. His power, he doesn't have laser beams. Right? Laser beams imply heat, and he has concussive force. So his eyes are literally a portal into another dimension. Right? They dubbed the name I think the punch dimension or something of that nature, but basically it's a dimension of pure kinetic energy, and his eyes are literally a portal into that dimension. And when his eyes open up, what do? They release that force out. So it's pretty cool. Oh my goodness. I felt for Gambit towards the end of the episode. Oh man. Q said I'm loving it. Mother is finally getting her yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, a lot of people don't know. I think a good population know that Cyclops' eyes are a portal into another dimension, but those who probably were reading comic books from the beginning, right? Even for those readers in like the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, the early 90s, you know, they probably still have the implication that Cyclops, his abilities come from ambient solar radiation, right? Or just solar ability. It's a solar radiated ability, but it's not. Will that probably change in the future? Don't know. I kind of like that his eyes are a portal into another dimension. And what I'm really digging in X-Men 97 is his versatility when he's using his powers and abilities, right? And he's kind of cocky with it a little bit, right? And I think that's pretty cool because it gives his character personality, but also his also leadership, right? The leadership in combination with that cockiness and versatility of his powers are making him a sight to behold. Get it? Sight to behold. Cable was my favorite, and I feel like, well, you know, for those of you who watched the ending of episode 2, you already know who's coming, right? Wise, oh, Unk, thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. I did not. I did not know that Cyclops thing. I thought it was heat vision. Oh, now you know, bro. Now you know. Now you know. Yeah, it's literally a portal into another dimension, the punch dimension or something of that nature, right? It's a concussive, yes, wise old unk. It's a concussive force, right? Pretty cool. Omega Red and Nightcrawler, I want back. Yeah, I would love to see them back, especially Nightcrawler in a lot of different ways. What's up with Morph? Like, what's the difference between him and Mystique? Oh, great question, Q. So for Morph, they're displaying his powers like really well, right? Number one, the reason why they try to give him that comic book accurate look, and this is why he looks the way he looks, right? Other than what we saw him in the original series. So he just looks kind of, he has that palish look, right? Not too many features because he morphs into other characters, and that's how he is represented in the comic books, right? But his first introduction was actually in the X-Men TV show, right? So pretty cool. But Mystique can only change her appearance, right? But that's also not true to say, right? For a long time, we only thought that a Mystique could only change her appearance. She cannot replicate powers, but she can change her appearance on a DNA based level. The reason why we know that is because she transformed into Azazel, had a baby with Destiny, and then we got Nightcrawler, which is some of the new. That was that came to fruition in X-Men Origins, X-Men Origin Blue, or something of the nature, right? But Morph can transform into other individuals and utilize their powers. Can he utilize their powers up to the upper echelon? No, but he can use their abilities, right? So there are some characters that I would be curious to see if he can use their powers, right? For example, I'm just going to use one of the Morlocks, the character, what's his name, the one who can basically siphon off abilities, right, or turn off your abilities. What's his name? Chat, let me know the name of this character. I forgot his name. I think I did. I know his dub name is like Kid Incredible, but he has another name. What's his name? Chat, come on, come on, come on, come on. I forgot his Leech. Yes, thank you, Vincent. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Steve. Leech. I would be curious to see if Morph can transform into Leech and then use his powers. I think for the most part, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, that Morph can use abilities that are more on the physical scale. So, for example, when he turned into Archangel, he could fly because he has wings. He can transform into Psylocke, but can't use her telekinesis, but can use her sword. You know what I mean? If he was to transform into Omega Red, he could use the coils, but he can't use the siphoning ability. Am I right in saying that, chat, that he can use physical attributes, but not innate energy spectrum attacks or something of the nature? But yes, I could be totally wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think I'm unfamiliar with that. Limited mimicry makes sense. Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah, but you know what makes it very confusing? Because Morph didn't utilize these abilities in the first episode of the original X-Men animated TV show. When we watched him using his abilities, even when they were going against the Sentinels, it was like, well, how did you get I don't know, the I guess the scale, they got better over time. They were able to train, utilize their powers better. It just makes kind of, yeah, it just seems like he was highly nerfed, like you mentioned, Wise Old Unk, in the original series, but now he is who he is, right? They didn't give him more of a story back then, and he was killed early. Yeah, that's true. Myron, what is going on, brother? What is going on? Will Kitty appear with that little dragon thing? Oh, I don't know if Kitty will appear. I don't know what kind of like trajectory they're going. There are certain story plots that I did not think that they were going to introduce into the show, but they are, right? So the whole Rogue and Magneto thing, I did not think that was going to be something that was present in the show, but no, it is. I would morph into Juggernaut all the time. You know, Yeah. What about Quicksilver? I hope we see Quicksilver. I hope we see Quicksilver. But because he's not a mutant. and he's not the son of Magneto anymore, which is, I don't know. I hope they retcon all of that, especially that they're gonna reboot some of the comic books when it comes to the X-Men. I really hope that they retcon all of that stuff. Retcon the retcon, if that makes sense, right? Tiff, thanks for the share of the live. Juggernaut's my guy, absolutely. Yeah, and Scarlet Witch. Yeah, I honestly they look like him. Well, especially Quicksilver. Quicksilver looks like Magneto. So I don't know when they did the whole Fox and Disney thing, that's what really broke down the comic books and retcon a lot of that information so they could introduce. They're doing it. And that was the other element. I did not think that they were going to introduce the Madeline Pryor. Spoiler alert, because this whole podcast, the TikTok thing that we're doing right now, is nothing but spoilers. So I apologize if you're scrolling on. I should put on a symbol. I should put. Can one of my amazing mods just put spoilers and pin that comment because we are talking nothing but spoilers. So Matt, they got me truly emotionally invested. And I was watching other. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate. I was watching other videos on it, and I was like, oh, they're not gonna do it in Madeline. They're not gonna do Goblin Queen stuff and Nathan. I thought they were just gonna do their own version of how Cable came to be, and that's why he's there. Nope, I was 100% wrong. 100% wrong. They're going full throttle with this whole Madeline Pryor thing. When that door opened up at the end of the episode, and she was like, "I need the X-Men" or whatever she said, and then I'm looking at Scott holding the baby. I'm like, yo, they're really doing this. They're really and the thing is, I was so invested in the gene that was presented. They got me. It was good. It was really good. Thank you, Tiff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I knew since Madeline Funko leaked. Oh, okay. I've been trying to stay away from certain things like that. But yeah. But apparently Sinister did his thing. Yeah. And he did his thing probably in we would have to go back to the older episodes, but when he probably captured her is when he made a clone of her and released her into the wild. And she's like, "Oh, I made my way back. It's not even Eugene." and sh- and the thing is, I don't know if they're gonna go through the plot that Madeline thinks she is Jean, and then she realizes that she's not Jean, and she loses her mind. Or are they gonna go through? She knows she's not Jean, but she's playing the game, right? So I'm eager to see if they play any twists and turns with the storyline that was represented in the comic books, right? When is that next episode? Was next week Wednesday, right? Chat or correct me if I'm wrong, because I felt that was after. Yeah, they're gonna replace Storm with the new character now. See, how do I feel about this Storm thing? If I think that Storm is going to get her powers back, absolutely. I think she's going to get her powers back. Now, a lot of people aren't liking that she lost her powers. I'm excited for it. I'm going to tell you why. Just hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Let's watch this clip of when they introduced her as Omega level mutant, and then I'm going to tell you why I'm okay with her not having the powers. And you guys are gonna be like, "What are you talking about, Zen? Like, she needs to have her powers." I know. Just, just, just listen. Let's just watch the scene.
Give him the forecast.
Chef's kiss. She's OD, chat. Oh my goodness.
Ancient sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Bow down to Storm. You hear this music? Yes. I'm gonna tell you guys something right now. Here's here's the part I literally felt goosebumps in my whole entire body on a visceral level. When I heard the Sentinel say Omega level threat detected, I already knew.
Give him the forecast.
Omega level threat detected.
I lost it. I lost it, chat. I lost it. I'm gonna tell you so. I lost it because I was like, I already know who you're talking about, and they literally had Omega level, right? Because they didn't really talk about that stuff, right? Which writer is the one who came up with the terminology of Omega level? I know Hickman really went into it in 1990. I said 1990, 2019. But who did it prior? Because he wasn't the one who dubbed Omega levels. I can't remember who did it. I, Morrison. I think it was Morrison. No, it wasn't Jack Kirby. I think it was Morrison who truly dubbed Omega level stuff as one of the categories for mutants, right? We have the beta, we have the alphas, and we have omega level. We do have beyond omega level, which isn't really truly talked about much, but yeah. Real, what's going on, bro? It was stated. Uh, yes, I believe it was House of M, but I someone would have to fact check me, right? There's a lot of great comic book TikTokers out there who know that information on the ready. Not me. I don't. I'm an enthusiast. uh, but yeah, that this scene is amazing. So now getting back to my point, for them to introduce her at this level, it it gives off the feeling that she can clear house at any time. You understand? So what I think they're gonna do, they take away her powers, they take away a plot device, right? That could be. And when she returns, she will be so glorious because they'll need her on an astronomical level. I feel like they may take her out for most of the season and then return her with her powers when they truly need it. And it could be one of those things where my theory is that either they're going to make a device to return her powers, or they originally thought that her powers were gone but they were wrong, right? That she's gonna feel some kind of agonizing voice. I said voice, force in order to. Basically, she's gonna go through a little bit of trauma in feeling like she needs to save her friends, and then it's just gonna ignite, or something like you said, Jamin. Introduce Forge, right? Because we've seen Forge, right? Forge was in. He was with X Factor, right? So he can make something to rehabilitate her. Absolutely. Uh, And yeah, she also has magical potential. A lot of people don't know that. That her family tree goes down to some really powerful sorceresses, right? Uh, One that was the Sorcerer Supreme at one point. Is Magneto a full good guy or not at all? Here's the thing. Magneto was never fully a bad guy, right? I think you have to look at it from a philosophical level too, right? When your people are being pushed to the bridge of extinction and they're suffering nothing but hatred, bigotry, discrimination, right? You're left to fight back in a way that you feel is right. And for him, it's no holes barred. I'm gonna protect my people at all costs. He is a direct representation of exactly that, Malcolm X, right? So I don't truly see him as a bad guy. The perception of villain is in the eyes of the person who is at the whim of his abilities or what he's doing, right? So of course, if I'm a human being and he's like ripping up my town and my loved ones are being decimated, I'm gonna be like, "You're a villain. I hate you. You're the devil." You know what I mean? But for people like the Morlocks who have been subjected to hiding, right? Yeah, they're gonna be like, "You're our savior." So you have to look at it at a lot of different ways. So yeah. And Genosha, yeah, there's so many different things. Dread, yo, thanks for the roses. I appreciate you guys. And thanks for being here, everyone, on this X-Men 97 TikTok podcast. And let me know if anyone wants to hop in for 5 minutes just to give their opinion, their hype on the episode, their thoughts and their theories. Let me know. Just kind of add on. I have a couple of rules. 5 minutes on the clock. If you start to curse, I kick you out. That's because there's people who, there's probably kids watching. You know what I mean? Um, you could get hype without doing that. Also, just being kind and all of that jazz and stuff like that. So, anyone who wants to hop in, just say, I would like to hop in, Zen. I would like to tell everyone what I feel about X-Men 97. So anyway, um you like to talk? Let me see. Let me see. Jammin. Go ahead, send her a request. I think you guys are able to request, right? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I see multi-guest. I'm using TikTok Studio, so I've never used a multi-guest with TikTok Studio. Myron, thanks for the rose. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks. Is Mystique still bad? I think she's gonna. That's a great question because I missed a couple of comics earlier. Slipping on the stream times. My stream times are random, but I'm getting back into my TikTok kind of just talks like this one though. But yeah, let me see. Does the goat respond? Oh, Goten, you are the goat. You are the goat. All right, guys. Let me see. I can't see. Did anyone request to come in? It's probably just I don't know how to do it. I'm probably just being a no. Multi-guest isn't available in compatibility mode. Of course, it's not. Of course, of course, it's not. Chat. Of course, I'm using compatibility mode, so you guys can view this in two different forms, horizontal and vertical. So I didn't realize that I couldn't do that in either. But let's watch this clip one more time. Chef's
Surrender.
kiss.
Surrender. Surrender. You.
Give him the forecast.
Omega level threat detected.
I still feel it. I know the music is
Ancient sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred!
beautiful. Beautiful. You know, I have not, that is a beautiful scene. Like it's the music complemented her goddesshood, right? And it's just yeah, I don't know. Someone mentioned Sifu. I will play Sifu. I'm just not too sure when I'm gonna stream it again though. I'm on my X-Men hype. I know I wasn't the only one that cried when Storm got hit. I didn't cry, but I felt it, right? I felt emotional. I felt emotional on the visceral level on two different scenes, and this was one of them, the one that we just played. I'm gonna show you the second scene, right? Because Cyclops has always been my favorite character, my favorite X-Men, right? And I remember Cyclops is whack. I'm like, and I have to defend him, and I had to defend the hell out of Cyclops, right? And yes, yes, that's a great point. That Storm has a darker skin complexion. Not to get into like racial thing, but we have to when it comes to X-Men, right? Even the voice actor, she was thoroughly excited that Storm had a darker skin complexion. And the reason why, for some of you, there's a lot of colorism in a lot of different uh, races, right? Where a darker skin tone implies that you're not as beautiful, right? Which is a complete, it's just foolish, right? In general. And what they used to do is lighten the skin tone of a lot of characters in the earlier days. And, you know, people got smarter. People got smarter that all skin shades are absolutely beautiful, and Storm was always meant to be a darker skin complexion. There was no need for them to lighten for the appeasement of people, and now we have Storm in her original design, the way that she was meant to look, right? Some people are talking about the mohawk thing. That's just because they're unfamiliar. She's had a mohawk and many different hairstyles in a lot of different iterations. But people will get to know. I think this show did something that people were like, I hate to use the word woke. That's like woke. You woke up. X-Men has always been that, right? It's about overcoming adversity because people are being discriminated. They're definitely the allegory for I don't know if I can use the word, the R word, right? Cyst and discrimination and people trying to overcome trials and tribulations. It's just X-Men have always been that, right? Which is why the X-Men has been my favorite team. Earlier, someone asked me who's my favorite character, and it is Cyclops. And this show has definitely pushed him over the edge as being my favorite character, and will always be my favorite X-Men.
Hang on, people!
This part. Thank you. Thank you. So, I'm gonna pause it. So there goes Morph doing his thing, right? Physical ability mimicry.
Another catch the X-Men.
So I'm like, all right.
Solid work, team. See you on the ground.
So hold on. In this moment, I think time stopped for me. I'm gonna play it. I know you guys are like Zen, play the clip. So I was like, see you on the ground. He's gonna do some little parachute thing, like something is gonna come out of his belt, right? Because he has a belt. So I'm like, all right, cool. See you on the ground, but you're gonna get there a lot slower than everyone else. No, look at this. This reminded me of Winter Soldier.
To me, my X-Men.
That scene. Yo, Ryan, man, what is up, brother? I think I missed you in the comments earlier. Yo, this scene, chat. Yeah, his fight sequence is really good too. I'm gonna try to pull up a clip in a little bit. The way he uses his Scott practiced that move in the danger room. Yeah, because Scott was literally always in the danger room. For the most part, I remember an episode when he was going against like some of the higher level villains, like Apocalypse. There were danger room versions of them, but he was doing his thing in there, right? So it was like absolutely amazing. Yeah, this is the remake, or the sequel, right? Yeah, or the sequel. So it's like so good. Ah, man, it's so hype. It was so hype when he was playing Marvel vs. Capcom. I love Marvel vs. Capcom. That was my team. I would have Cable because I could do three Hyper Viper beams right into a combo. Cyclops, and sometimes I would switch out between like Colossus or Juggernaut, or sometimes Psylocke for her anti-air assist, depending on. Going back to the original, nothing has topped the series. Yeah, it's so good. In the comic books, Scott has Gomez toe to toe with Cap and held his own. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I love Captain America, but I think he's overhyped. I had you at Cable. um, I could argue the hell out of who would win in a battle versus Cyclops versus Captain America. The one thing about the one thing about Cyclops is the visor being knocked off. I think that's a big deficit for him, um, which I think. if goons could do that, I think a lot of people could do that, right? I've always disliked Captain America and Black Widow. And it's like, really? You mean like kind of like those leader type characters in some type of way? I respect that though. Stamina Cap would eventually take him. That's what I was thinking too. Not for it. But I think the way that Cyclops uses his ability is quite versatile. And what I'm really digging, I'm going to bring up a clip in a little bit, um, is he uses it in a really versatile way. And I know I said that a lot of times, but they showcased it in the show pretty well. Question: what happened to Morph's face? Morph, I think they were just trying to go with that comic book version of Morph, to make him not appear. I read some articles that they weren't trying to make him appear male, female, right? To make him more ambiguous for whatever reason, right? Maybe it was just to reach different people, right? And I think that's okay because Morph is a character that morphs. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it is. But in his comic book version is like that, right? He does have a Darwin look, a kind of vibe, and I think that threw off a lot of people because some people did think it was Darwin, but it's not though. Uh, but yeah, because the amount of times we see him morph into so many different characters is just like, okay, switch, switch, switch. Even in that scene, we saw him turn into Archangel or Angel. Uh, well, more so Archangel because he had the metal wings. So, what happened to Rogue's cake? Another question. I just think they were honestly. I think from an animation standpoint and drawing standpoint, they just wanted to draw her because when you're drawing characters, right, you have to go through the curves multiple different times. So I don't know if it was it something to be easier or they just didn't think about it, right? It is harder to be consistent because when you're doing like the curvature on the gluteus maximus, then you have to think about making it similar all of the time without making it really big and then smaller. So, I don't know. Would I like to see the old school version? Yes. But do I understand why it could be difficult? Yes. Absolutely. When you're just trying to do legs. So, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they weren't trying to sexualize the character either, right? I don't know. I think this is one of those shows where none of the characters look hyper sexualized, right? Which is pretty interesting. I don't know if that was something on purpose, right? Put me on the couch, I'd draw with that eyes so closed. I'd curve the hell out. Trying to be more kid friendly. I think Disney was trying to be, yeah, but honestly, these themes are still pretty like deep, right? So I don't know. I don't know if they. I feel like this show is gonna do so much good, where we're gonna get multiple seasons of X Men '97, right? Uh, like if we start to get some of these characters in What If, that'd be dope too. Actually, no, I don't want that. I was wrong. No, I don't want that. I actually don't want any of the X Men stuff to touch. Like Avengers and all of that stuff. Yo, Def, what is up, bro? Ryan, man, thanks for the resubbing. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely has a lot of promise. I think how they brought out North Star. Yeah, uh, they can't be in Marvel characters. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of want them. I don't want them to touch any Avengers stuff. I don't. I just want them to. I don't know. I feel like I don't know what I'm saying, but I just feel like everything that's happened in the MCU needs a restart now. Now it needs a restart. I wasn't a fan of. I'm not a fan of reboots too much, but you're a hater, Tiff. But I feel like the MCU does need a restart, and the X Men are going to be a restart to it, right? But I don't want them to introduce them in a way of like cameo this, alternate dimension this. Just restart. Just start up a whole brand new planet. And in this planet, it does have the X-Men established, right? As a main storyline on that Earth. And then they could explore other parts of the Earth and other conflicts where the Avengers happen to be there, right? They could do a slow rebuild. Or honestly, if they just start doing animated shows and animated movies, I'm okay with that. Thanks for the follow. I'm okay with that too, right? Uh I don't know. Most likely they'll do that after Secret Wars. Yeah, I agree. That was my original theory that I did a couple of years ago on my YouTube channel. Um, that they would do that. Because that's what they did in the. That's not what they did in the comic books, but basically having two worlds collide with each other and then merge into a singular world. That's the best possible way that I could see them doing it. Right? They need to. They need to. DC can't be the only good animated. I know. Uh, yeah, but now it looks like they're gonna rival them. Let me see. I'm trying to bring up the scene. I'm looking up the scene when Cyclops is just fighting, doing his thing. Yeah, DC's been killing it for years. Like absolutely, 100%. Uh, all right, so here's that scene that I was referencing earlier, where Cyclops is in the danger room just training, right? Because I think folks forget that characters can level up in terms of their battle IQ, their martial prowesses, things of that nature. They don't just stay at level one the whole entire time. Just like any other human being, right? You get more skill the more you immerse yourself into something, right? And then you gain a level of mastery. So here's the scene where Cyclops is in the danger room and he basically puts it at maximum level. He's like, I don't care. He's like, forget this. This is from the original. So them going against this stuff is pretty. Yo, Gina's always fainted.
Come on, Gambit, can't you make this program a little tougher?
Why? You don't like Gambit to be gentle?
Our enemies won't be. Crank it up.
She always got that
Xavier
mode.
School? Remy? Who is this? How you find me?
That's true. Well, I made a mistake. I thought he cranked it up to that level.
Remy in the air. You gotta
My boy's on the phone.
It's Bobby. He in trouble. Then let him get out of it. But Remy,
X-Men 97,
Bobby disappeared.
Cyclops wouldn't let this happen though. Just saying though.
And if he ain't there tonight with the tide, you know what
X-Men 97 would have been like, I'm taking off the visor. I'm blasting this whole planet apart. See, you could tell, and this is what I mean by battle IQ. I'm gonna explain what I mean in a little bit. She has hot cocoa. She's like, you guys having a good time?
Cyclops!
Just leave him, leave him, leave him, leave him, leave him. I don't know what Omega Red was doing, like what blast he was
Gambit!
doing.
What in tarnation are you doing?
My boy.
Cyclops was alone in there. You could have killed him.
It was at that moment that Cyclops leveled up. He was like, never again. He trained his life away. But what I mean by the battle IQ portion, yeah, he got a Zenkai boost after that because he started to use his powers in a more versatile. That's my headcanon saying like, all right, he trained, he almost died, he been through a lot, he had no choice but to just get nice. That's why he entered Marvel vs. Capcom. He went into Marvel vs. Capcom. He trained against Ryu, and then he was like, you know what? That's it. That's it, my boys. Never again. I'm gonna learn how to land from far distances. You guys who can fly, I don't need to fly. I know how to use my powers now. That's it. Right, you and Ken leveled him up. Yeah. Oh man, he saw Akuma. He's like, "Can you train me?" He's like, "If you train me, then I don't know. I'll make you food or something." Yeah, that's so. In terms of like the ricocheting of the shots, I do think like he's more versatile than Captain America with the shield. Why? Because it's his eyes. And the concussive force is meant to bounce off a little bit. So yeah. After that, he became Batman. he'll he'll make him a sandwich. There's a little chicken sandwich with some like fries or something and a drink. Why can't I find? I can't find it. The fight scene with Cyclops. I'm still looking for it. Chat. I'm finding. Oh, okay, I found a version of it. Hold on, hold on. Cyclops button mash. All right, won't be able to show it perfectly because it's coming up in like vertical mode, but we can still dig it. You know what I mean? To the best of our ability. Wait. This boy is sliding. Look at this. My boy's confident as hell. Look at this. The elbow. With that elbow. That would have hurt. That would have broke my elbow. But does his lasers not kill people? Oh, it could. It could. It's just that think of it like he's just punching someone really quickly, right? With the amount he could amplify it. No, he could. No, he could. He could decimate them. But you know, he doesn't want to. He just wants to. Cyclops just want to like incapacitate them, right? Yeah, it is. It's just kinetic force. So it's like a punch in their face. So you know, it kind of. But I like the caveat that he does have to press the visor, right? Because imagine if he doesn't have the visor. What? Imagine him using hand-to-hand combat, all of his martial prowesses with without having to touch the visor at all, which would mean that he has full control of his powers, which a lot of people don't know that it, the reason why he doesn't have control of his powers is because of the accident when he was a baby or a toddler. Yeah, not a toddler, a mid-teen, preteen. Yeah. So that's what I always wondered too, right? How come even in the Krakoa age of the comic books, how come they haven't made something where it's just connected to his central nervous system and then he could control it through a thought, right? But I think what would happen is that we wouldn't get Cyclops the way we have Cyclops. He wouldn't have the visor, and we all know Cyclops for the visor. So I think he even said it in his resurrection that he didn't want to be fixed because they could have fixed him in the comic books, but he was like, nah. Yeah, the visor is too iconic. So agreed. I'm gonna try to find a better clip of that. But in the meantime, let's watch a clip of them fighting the Sentinels. And I'm so hyped to see the Sentinels again, honestly. The purple Sentinels looking beefy and just powerful in general. I think I don't know. This show is really great. And it's only 2 episodes. Yeah, we're gonna watch that scene again, bro. When he was landing, that's my second favorite scene next to the storm scene. All right, here we go. 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 All right, let's do this shot. So in this scene, right? I was like, Why would they put Morph in these situations again, right? Didn't he get unalived? But then they were like, Zen, we got you. If you thought you knew Morph, we'll show you Morph. I know, Alan. Look at
Heads up!
the voices, everything. Wolverine doing his thing.
Greetings, enemy mine.
I'm confused by this,
To
though.
a change of heart? Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful involuntary friendship.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm confused by that little scene right there. He was. Let's go, Bishop. My boy said I came back. I'm staying with y'all. Uh, the part that I was confused about Hank is just that makes the assumption that could the Sentinels be piloted by a human being in the past? Because he just interlocked with their I I don't know, their arms and then the legs portion. So like I don't understand. Was there like a sensory device already installed for like human beings to pilot them? I'm not thinking about it too much, but I was thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's like, where, where'd you guys get that part from? You know what I mean? And then there was this scene right after, right? We watched this like mad times, but we gotta watch it again. That's true. True.
Give him the forecast.
Omega level threat detected.
All right, hold on. I know. I'm gonna play it. My bad, chat. People don't realize, like, she's turning the sand into glass. Like, what a display. What a display of her powers. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? Like, how genius can you be? She was like, nah, chill. Let me just turn everything into glass. I'm gonna make a tornado and it's gonna shred the hell out of them. Genius. No, fire and sand, but she's using lightning, so that substitutes for the amount of heat that's brought. I thought about it. I thought about it.
Ancient sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred!
Yo, the voice actor? Like, that's wild, chat. That's wild. Because we've only seen a display of her abilities into on this level in the comic books, right? Because she has been getting her dues in the comic books too. I don't want you all to be confused. It's not like, oh, it's only in this show that her powers have been displayed to this level. No, in the comic books, like she's been like extremely amazing too. They have written her in such a way in the Krakoan era that it's just like, wow. Like she can take on multiple Omega level mutants and make them feel like they're Beta level mutants. That's the thing. Yeah, her voice actor is on point. Last time I saw X-Men was 30 years ago. Yeah, it's back. It's back. Yeah, she's always waxing philosophical. Yeah, those lines are amazing. Yo, let's listen to the lines. Like, listen. She'll make you feel like
Give
you
him the
like.
Omega level threat detected.
Listen to this first line. Let's analyze the quote.
Ancient sands, heed my command.
That's already a bar. Ancient sands, because they're old. They've been there for a long time. She said, heed my command. Like you're done. Everyone is done.
And reclaim these relics of
And reclaim these relics of hatred, meaning old sentinels that are discriminated trying to get mutants. Who wrote this? Who? Who wrote it? Who wrote it? God? Like you heard that? Reclaim these relics of hatred. Ancient sands.
hatred.
And then, because people thought, sorry, I have to keep pausing it. People thought she just made a tornado. She turned the sand into glass, broke that apart, chop, 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 then made a tornado with it, and then there's lightning being fired in the tornado. Did you thought it was only the sand? I mean the glass and the tornado? Yo, look at it. Bop! You're done! She said no sentinels getting back up. None. That scene is absolutely amazing. So, this is why, right? I said I'm okay with her not having her powers for a little bit. They gave us a lot in this one scene, right? And when she returns, I feel like it's gonna be OD. Yo, Breezy, what is up? Gladiator, what's up, bro? Um, Storm did the dishes after she cooked. Oh yeah, this is comic book talk. Well, particularly X-Men '97. So yeah, one more time. I think for
Give 'em the
most of the
forecast.
season, honestly, should be out. Be complex. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. She said I'm gonna walk on it. I just noticed that too. So that means every time she was walking, she was making a path for herself. What? What? As she was walking, she was making a path for herself. That's why she wasn't sinking in the sand. So as soon as she landed, she was like, glass. Glass path. Let's go. Sometimes there are things in life that you just truly appreciate and you just give gratitude. And this is one of those moments. And then the poeticness of her lines are just absolutely amazing. She could have went by
Give 'em the
herself.
forecast.
And then Cyclops saying, give the forecast? That alone is a bar too. Look at this. Look at this. Path. I need a path. Oh,
Ancient
what?
sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
So you're absolutely right, right? She was just hanging in the back. She's like, go play. Just call me when you need me to clean up, right? She's drinking some cocoa, and my boy Syke says, I need you. Give him the forecast. Yo, you didn't? I can see. All right. So from I could step outside of myself, right? Because some of the lines could be considered corny or give a feeling of secondhand embarrassment if you don't tackle it from the perspective of the 90s type of lines, right? Where it can make you feel like, well, like when he says, to me, my X-Men, for me, it's hype, but for other people, they're like, ugh, right? So I don't know, but I respect either version, right? So for me, I love it. For other people who are like, ah, man, ugh, I respect it too, right? Because it's not giving them a feeling or it just sounds corny, right? And I respect it. E- No matter what, I respect anyone's opinion, right? But for me, exactly, it is a product of the times, and I am a product of the. It's top tier dad jokes. Yeah, I don't know how else to kind of describe it, but I respect anyone who just their opinions in general, right? So yeah, that's X Men '97. His forecast line gave the same vibes as Nancy Fickwick. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like it's for some but not for many, right? And that's cool. So, all right, so let's watch the ending of each episode. You guys ready for it? If I'm spoiling you, I only talk about spoilers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is like pure hype. I have to do like so many videos. Well, most of the videos are going to come from this actual TikTok podcast. But next time when we do it, I have a question for all of you before I continue. Are you guys watching this on horizontal, aka landscape, or are you watching it in portrait right now? I'm curious. So I don't know what's even going on now. It's all good. Even Sunspot said, "Page me." Yeah, exactly. Vertical portrait. Okay, portrait. I'm just trying to get a. I should have put up a poll, but it's okay. Just put the comments in the chat. Two people watching in portrait. No one else. Come on, class participation, everyone. Come on. Portrait. Three portraits. No one else. Horizontal. Okay, one horizontal. The reason why I'm saying is because no, you participated. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. I like to switch chat. Okay, switch it up from time to time. The only reason why I'm asking is incompatibility mode, which I'm using right now to do too. I can't ask guests to come on, right? Unless I only do it in portrait. I think okay, cool. So next I can remove the chat to see more. Okay. Mister, thanks for the 6 lightning bolts. Appreciate you. If I've ever watched, didn't know I could change it. Oh, no, no, no. So usually it's not like that, but some of us TikTokers, right? TikTokers. We have that ability through the TikTok studio to be able to use compatibility mode, which allows for portrait and horizontal. So some of you might be more inclined to watch one more than other, but in the future, when I start to do these X-Men 97 kind of podcasts, I want folks to be able to come on. Like folks wanted to come on today, but I don't have that ability unless I was just doing portrait or one or the other, but not both. So that's something I'm going to kind of put into feedback for TikTok when I do the survey. Hopefully it gets somewhere, right? Anyway, so yeah, thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. Yeah, so X-Men 97, absolutely amazing. Uh there are gripes that people have with it. So let's talk about this, right? For those of you who have watched, are there any gripes that you all have, right? Because everything can be perfect, right? So is this a remake or a new season? So this is a new season. So it is a direct sequel from the X-Men animated TV show. Okay. Yeah. No, no, no. It's a great question. The Magneto Rogue stuff was just out of nowhere for no reason. The it gave me a weird feeling. And like a unsettling feeling, the Rogue and Magneto part and their potential relationship, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that unsettling feeling because it gave me a roller coaster of feelings, right? So Magneto's dope. His speeches were absolutely amazing because we're gonna watch some of that. But I'm also feeling it was weird. It was, you know what I mean? It was weird because he's like way older and she's like way younger. I know of age stuff is fine, but still, yet I felt truly bad for Gambit, and that's what I mean. I'm okay with the roller coaster of feelings, right? Because they did do that in the comic books for certain cycles of comic story, but I'm just like, ugh, still weird, my boy. So yeah, yeah, they did date in the comic books, right? And yeah, it brings back being a child again, watching. Yeah, so there was a lot of things. I'm just like, I don't know. All right, let me see. Do we have an ending up here? Uh, so let's watch the ending of episode dos.
Why did
Oh, why are you so loud? Why Cyclops beams and laser guns kill no one? Oh, because he chooses not to. He could. And they're concussive force, not truly lasers, so they don't contain heat, right? They come from a punch dimension, which is nothing but concussive force. So could he like knock someone to the ground and just like OD on the optic blast? Yes, he could, but he doesn't. He just wants to incapacitate people. Think about it like he knocks them out with with a punch, right? Do you think Storm losing her powers is a story arc, or the voice actor is done with the role? No, no, no. She's not done with the role. Oh man, she is so stoked with the role. One of the things that I want to do, I'm going to do more of these podcasts, enough of them on TikTok to be able to invite some people on. So, will it happen? With your help, everyone. With your help. Share the live. Like the hell out of it, cuz I think it's in the realm of possibility to get some of the voice actors on. Um I think I have enough personality to like summon them. I think so. But yeah, she was one of the people who really talked about the skin tone for Storm and her loving that the darker skin complexion a is the true representation of Storm, you know? So yeah. So because I realize there aren't many like TikTok podcasts, so I'll be doing the TikTok podcast like this. Guest starring Wolverine. Hello, bub. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we were just watching that, bro. We were just watching that scene. But anyway, let's get into the ending for episode 2. Madeline Pryor. This one threw me off.
If only I hadn't left the UN, I could have. You did what you had to, brother. Storm did the same.
And we will respect her decision.
That's so. The blast had your name on it. Should be you leaving, mon ami.
I understand why he's
Imply
tight.
it. Not 1 minute. Storm will spend a day schlepping it with the basic folk and come right home, happy as a... What did I say?
Because Storm had left, so he thought it was Storm. It's Jean!
I need the X-Men?
So if that's Jean, who's that? And whose kid is that? Well, it's his kid, but it's not Gene. So for those of you who watch this episode and you're thoroughly, if you're like, what? If they're gonna go by the comic book line, right? Spoiler alert. So get ready. That behind him, that she behind him is Madeline Pryor. She's a she is a clone off of Jean Grey. So but what I'm not too sure about is if they're going to give this a twist, right? Does Madeline, aka Clone Jean in the back, know that she's a clone? I hope she does not, because that will make it more exciting. But if she knows she's a clone, but she infiltrated to take over for Jean, then we have this, right? If Does she have Jean's power? Yeah, she does. She does. In the previous episode of the original, Psylocke was there. Really? So it makes sense. Is this out already? Yeah, episode two is out. Yeah, this was episode two. They dropped episode one and two, so you could see it on Disney Plus. Sign me, Disney Plus. I'm promoting for you. Bring me on the show. Bring me on. Make a show for me, please. Just do it. Go watch 76 episode recap. They have it on YouTube. Yeah, but and they have it on they make Gambit dressed like do you think so? I think they're those little crop top. I know you're talking about the crop top stuff, right? Uh that's 100% 90s though. I'm just saying. Was everyone wearing that stuff? No. But I could bring up some videos of like some old school videos and they're wearing crop tops. 100%. He isn't? I didn't know that. Uh that was like total 90s exactly. So, yeah. But I'm not gonna get into that portion. But yeah, this Madeline Pryor thing. So they already dubbed his name. That's Nathan. The baby is Nathan, and we know Nathan is Cable. But will they do the whole, hey, that's my baby. They're trying to get him. We're gonna bring him into the future, and then it's like Gene. Oh man, if they do the story arc that I think they're gonna do, then we might not see certain characters for a while too. We might not see Cyclops, Gene. We'll see them, but not on the main cast, right? We'll see them like doing their own side story stuff while the rest of the X-Men are doing their things, right? But Magneto being the team leader or the kind of the headmaster is kind of throwing off what would be in the comic books, right? So, which I'm excited for because that gives line to new possibilities and new storytelling. So, for example, Morph wasn't in the old comic book storyline, so we have we have freedom to experience something truly fresh, right? Is Doctor Doom X-Men villain? No, he's primarily a Fantastic Four villain. But has he been a villain for the X-Men? Yeah, he has. Yeah, they're gonna have conflict because of Rogue, and I'm not too sure that I'm in favor of that. That's probably my only gripe with the show that I wasn't clinging towards the whole Rogue and Magneto portion. I'm waiting for some Spider-Man crossover. I think we are gonna get that. Honestly, that would be pretty dope. I missed the comment. Hold on. Wait, you lost me. What happened to Professor X? So, what's the shortest way to put this? Professor X basically got unalive, but then at the let's watch it. Then the Shi'ar Empire came and was like, Lalandra, I said Leandra, Lalandra said like, hey, I'll take you, because we have technology that could basically put you in stasis until we can save you. Let me see, X-Men animated. Let's see if we could find the ending for it. Oh yeah, it's right here.
When you have auto.
Nope. CJ doing the Rogue and Magneto stuff messy. LOL. Could be better. Yeah, I feel like they just threw it out there. Possible Wolverine and a Hulk fight. I could see it happening. Yeah, first two episodes were fantastic. Which X-Men would you like to see them introduce? Because one thing that's pretty cool about the intro, it seems like it's interchangeable, right? Because one we had, I think the next one, the intro is going to include Magneto, right? In the intro. So it seems like they could change it around a couple of different times. Magic, she's kind of like my favorite. When we last saw her, she was a kid. So if they send her away where she ages up, yeah, I could see it. I want to see more. Oh man, I want to see more Gladiator too. Gladiator is one of my favorites. Calark. Uh, his scene when he threw Juggernaut, rent free in my memories. Still love my boy Juggernaut though. Iceman, he was in the old show for just a couple episodes because They just had like a plot line for him. But honestly, he wasn't as powerful as Omega level. He is a Omega level, but he was there. But I'm pretty sure that they could boister his abilities just like how they boistered everyone else in the show. Because in the old show, like they pushed him in water and then he like his powers turned off. And he's one of my favorite X Men too. All right, so let's watch the scene. This is from the old show, right? And then X Men '97 carries the next episode.
I'm grateful to have the chance to say goodbye. Morph, it's nice to see you home.
Lord Kinsha,
facing your fears.
Thanks for
You
the
have proven
thanks for the
yourself
13.
truly an X-Man. Gambit, how often must the scoundrel prove himself a hero before he believes it
Appreciate
himself?
you, Lord.
Jubilee, you are the future. When I look at your face, I see hope. Storm, my beautiful Storm, mighty as a hurricane, gentle as a summer rain. You honor me with your friendship. Wolverine, loner,
I got you on that.
you have
CJ.
found a family. Wild savage, you have found dignity. Cynic, you have found faith. Rogue, unable to touch, yet look around you. You will find you have touched us all. Jean, first in my heart, your courage allowed you to see things no other human ever has. Yet remain the
He's
same
been.
innocent child I met so very long ago.
Is there anything I can do, Charles?
The friends thou hast, and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. Scott, were I your father, I would tell you that no truer son could ever be.
I felt that.
Proud. Proud of you all. My X-Men.
Well, there was actually
Nickelodeon was
all right, Nickelodeon. Um, there was actually more. Because they basically take his body. I thought they was gonna include that, but I guess they didn't. Uh,
I'm good.
yeah, the Shi'ar Empire comes and then takes his body. Too bad the movies were garbage. Honestly, I enjoyed First Class and the sequel to that. Going back to Darwin, I think Darwin is an amazing character with amazing abilities because he can adapt to pretty much any situation in a myriad of different ways, right? And I think in the comic books they represented him really well, but then they put him in a situation where he became in the Krakoan age. He went into the vault with Sync and also X-23, aka Wolverine. And when they went in, basically time changed, but Darwin stayed and he became a artificial intelligence of sorts, and I think that was just a means of adaptation. But then they never talked about him again. And for those of you who are reading the comic books right now, my hope is that they do kind of bring some kind of closure on that. Billy, thanks for the follow. Because I've been so invested in the the Children of the Vault storyline or just the Vault in general. So I would hate for the reshaping of the X-Men to conclude without knowing what happened to Darwin. So they show his closure or bring back Darwin. Yeah. So I don't know. And for those of you who are just listening, I was just talking about the comic books. So yeah. Thanks, man. Need X coverage. Yeah, no, no worries. No worries. The X-Men is cool. So is the Fantastic Four, but not really into Marvel as much. I know you're a DC guy, but DC's not doing it for me. But I'm not gonna get into this. But DC is coming out with some amazing, amazing chef's kiss of animation. Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then part one, part two is coming out pretty soon. Would love to see Nightcrawler or Iceman in the show. Me too. Not even a new Batman Beyond storylines. I just haven't been reading them. The last DC storyline that I've been reading was Deceased, and that was it. Can't wait to full X Men roster and real life characters. Me too. And Colossus. I would love to see Colossus too. Yeah, yeah. Let me see. This was 2 minutes. I'm trying to find a better video that has the Shi'ar Empire come to get him. Because a lot of, or was that a fever dream? Like, did that not happen? Did I make that? Oh yeah, it did happen. It did happen. I didn't. So a lot of people forget about this part. I don't know why.
X-Men.
Here it is. His girl came. She said, "I got you. I'm your ride or die."
Oh, my poor Charles.
You are too late, Lilandra.
For human science, yes.
She said, "For
You were
you."
correct, however, in assuming that we Shi'ar have techniques beyond your comprehension, which will be of use.
Then he will survive?
Yes, but only under Shi'ar care. I know you cannot bear to see him go, but it is the only way.
Can he ever come back?
Perhaps not in body, my children, but my spirit shall remain among you, where it was always meant to be.
See? That's it. So that's how it really ended. So I do feel uh we are gonna see him again. We're definitely gonna see Professor X come back. He's probably just gonna be right, a spectral type of force, right? A telepathic force that comes in the image of him giving them guidance, right? So a lot of people forgot about that little end scene. That he's not truly unalived, right? He's just, you know, on the border of life and death. But the Shi'ar, like, they did put him in the intro. Yeah, yeah. My boy is still there. He's gonna come back. It's like, I got you guys. So yeah, could put his consciousness in another body. Interesting. Like if they do some kind of like cloning thing, right? That ending gets me teary eyed. Yeah, it's a good ending. No, I haven't. I haven't. Uh, there's a time when he put his mind into Phantom X. Yeah, that was a weird storyline to me. Not a bad one, just a weird one. Trying to find Superman and Wonder Woman together. Oh, okay, I see. But yeah, any other questions for X-Men 97 or thoughts before we kind of close our first X-Men 97 TikTok podcast? We'll do another one probably next week after the episode drops. Should you watch it? Yes, absolutely, you should watch it. Uh, you can go back to the old episodes, but if you're one of those, if you're one of the folks who are having a hard time getting into the old animation, then I would just say you just, you know, you could just simply just watch this show. I think you'll be good. The way it introduces, honestly, that would be an injustice. I would say watch the old animated TV show and then do this, right? So Scott's kid and Jean Grey, don't forget her name is really Cable. Yes, yes, Billy, indeed. Hold on, I missed some comments. I think they rushed the Magneto Rogue stuff. Yep, I agree. So Phalanx is the new spot with the Warlocks. So Phalanx. Wait, what do you mean? Sorry. When I was a kid, I was afraid of this Phalanx. Why is Rogue with Magneto? Uh, Primarily, I think it's kind of like that daddy issue kind of thing, right? Where she seeks uh, a form of attention that she's never been given, and because Magneto has the ability to touch her, because his magnetic abilities diffuses her abilities, that she can touch someone, right? That she could connect with someone, and yeah, yeah. The phalanx still kind of like creeps me out a little bit, especially when I look at Warlock. Warlock looks creepy as hell. He is complete nightmare fuel. But I always felt like the Phalanx were the ultimate enemies for the X-Men. Always thought that. And some of those storylines in the comic books were really deep when people would get assimilated. I was like, I don't know. It was just wild. Even in the comic books right now, artificial intelligence is still kind of a thing for the X-Men. Rogue is slowly sounding like a woman I date. X-Men got a lot to answer for. Hold on, I missed a comment. Magneto said the Warlocks. Oh, the Morlocks is still there. More. Yeah, there's the Morlocks. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, for the Morlocks. You think we get Colossus? Sorry if I spelled wrong. It's okay. I think we'll see Colossus again. You think Storm could defeat Mangog? Ooh, Storm defeat Mangog. That's a harder one. I want to say yes, but Mangog is just like an astronomical force of nature, right? It's just like plowing through. Yeah, I want to say yes. Yeah, okay with Magneto with Rogue. I am not. Yeah, I'm not okay with it either. But it's one of those things that we kind of run through a little bit until it's not a thing anymore. Rogue is for the whole team. Ah, no, don't say that. That makes her sound like a. Oh. But here's the thing. I've been seeing these comments. Like Gambit and Rogue weren't together though. Right? He was just flirting with her the whole entire time and she was always kind of pushing off, right? Like not like a hard to get, but like, hey, I like you, but you know this can't be a thing. But they weren't actually together, right? Rogue is your type. Will we see Fing Fan Foom? No, we won't see Fing Fan Foom. Is it Warlock or Morlock? It's Morlock. You're talking about the mutants who primarily are hidden, right? Because of their physical mutations for the most part. They're kind of like the outcast of the mutants within the mutant nation. Dude, can we talk about Madeline Pryor? Yeah, what questions do you have about Madeline? Madeline's hot. They completely sexualize her in the comic books, but it's okay, dude. So that man Gambit, yeah. What about Adam Morlock? No, that's a totally different character. That's like more in the space spectrum of the Marvel universe. Madeline is hot. She's basically Jean. She is, but you see how like physicality can be represented in two different paradigms, right? One shows a little bit more skin. One has a sassier attitude, and the other one is more kind of like you know, she's kind of, I don't know. She's hot too, but yeah. I'm excited for the storyline too. Let you see Madeline? I got you. TikTok is more like, all right, that's enough for this podcast. Um, I'll show you a picture of Madeline if I could spell her name right. Madeline Pryor, aka the Goblin Queen. And it's funny in the comic books right now, before they end the Krakoan age, she's actually dating and together with Alex Summers, who is the brother of Cyclops. It's so weird, but it's cool. Let me see. Let me bring up a picture of old Maddie, Madeline Pryor. I feel like I got to do a video on her. It's probably one of the greatest pictures of Maddie right here. uh, Scott's choice is brutal. Yeah, but it's so weird. In the X Men animated TV show when Cyclops when Cyclops and the rest of the team they went against X Factor, their powers canceled each other out, but they didn't know who each other was. Yeah. No, a lot of folks don't know that. A lot of folks do not know that because of his head injury is why Cyclops cannot control his powers anymore, and that's why um, he has the visor. I think it's a great caveat for him. Okay, here's Maddie. Let's get this going. If you're watching in horizontal, then you'll see the picture. Vertical, I got you right now. Here's Maddie. Tell you she's hot. No, I mean with the visor, he can control it, but without it, he can't. Yeah, he can't. He can't without it. He could control his powers with the visor, and he can intensify the beams. Right? Yeah. But one of my questions, right, has always been what would happen if Cyclops could have controlled his abilities and powers, right? And I think this was partially represented when he was part of the Phoenix Five, when he had the Phoenix Force. He still had the visor, but he didn't really need it. No, no. So yes, he wouldn't. That's not what I meant. I know he wouldn't need the visor anymore. But what I mean is, how far could he reach into that punch dimension or that dimension with concussive force? Could he intensify his beams to an even greater level? You know what I mean? Would it be the same as like when we strain our eyes, like something like that? He could intensify it to like the highest concussive force, or it just comes out the same way, right? To the level of Superman, possibly. Well, Superman's is heat vision, but Cyclops is kinetic concussive force. So the two are vastly different, even though they look similar. So one is heat based, the other one is kinetic based, meaning that one is like a punch or like throwing a train in your face, and the other one is like something that's burning, right? Both are solar powered. That was the original contention. That so we know for Superman, his eye beams are completely solar based. In the original storyline, it was believed that Cyclops' powers came from the sun, right? That his body would metabolize the sun, kind of like going through the process of something similar to photosynthesis, and then he would expel it through his eyes. But that was later changed to say that his eyes are a portal into another dimension. That his eyes literally are reaching into something called the punch dimension, or a dimension of just nothing but ambient concussive force, right? Or not ambient, that's wrong to say. Just concussive force, and he could basically just release it from his eyes, right? So imagine that you have like a eye, your eyes. Every time you open up your eyes, that's the portal opening from that dimension. So when he got the head injury, what happened was his eyes are always in portal mode. So no, so that's a great question. So does Havoc have the same type of portal? No, but for some reason, and I think this has only to do with the genetic resilience, right, of some type of way. So Havoc's abilities don't work on Cyclops, and Cyclops' abilities do not work on Havoc, and I just think that that's purely because of genetics. That their body, based on their genetic makeup, has some kind of code in it that states, if I was to feel this, it wouldn't do anything to me because we have a genetic match or something of the nature. They don't truly get into the reason why, but basically, just think about it like they're resistant to each other's abilities, right? On a genetic level. Yep, they nullify each other's abilities. So it's kinetic energy, yes, for Cyclops. Let me see. Or is it cosmic power? No, but their brother has, well, their brother can't tap into cosmic power because he could the third brother can tap into a lot of different. So all of the Summers brothers have energy abilities. All of them. One is a Omega level mutant, and that goes to Vulcan. Vulcan is the one who can basically absorb all forms of energy, literally. What stops Vulcan? What stops any Omega level mutant from becoming even more, um, from becoming better in their abilities is simply based on their creativity, right? And yeah, that's about it. Havoc's blasts are more powerful than Cyclops, I thought. Mm, that's interesting. I never really dived into the differences in terms of like power scaling for their abilities, right? You should check out Robert Jefferson from Comics Explained. Oh yeah, I'm subscribed to him, 100%. Yeah, I watch all of his videos. Yeah, he's one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. My boy put me onto him probably about 2018, and the first video I watched from him was a video on Blue Marvel, and that was one of the videos that got me back into comic books because I remember in 2019 is the announcement when they were that summer, I believe. That summer is when they were announcing Powers of 10 and House of X, and that's how I got back into comic books. Because I feel like with Cyclops not getting the concussion, he would have Havoc's level of destruction. But Cyclops has the ability. He has high levels of destructive ability, right? He just doesn't use it in that way because he doesn't want to destroy anyone. He could, right? So he has the ability to basically like blow up a whole entire mountain, right? So he could do quite a bit. He just chooses not to, right? He's a hero, right? So heroes will do what a hero will do in order to protect those around him, even though they might be doing the wrong thing, right? So human beings who are trying to get at him, he's not gonna obliterate them. He could. Who is this woman? This is Madeline Pryor. So at the end of episode 2 of X-Men 97, we did see her, and she is the clone of Jean Grey. We're about to get a phenomenal story, depending on how they do this. What's your thoughts on Banshee? No problem, Stacy. I love Banshee. Banshee is one of my favorite characters. I just love that ability. She's Cable's mom. Yes, she is Cable's mom. And Banshee, they did him well in X Men Origins, X Men First Class. I said X Men Origins, X Men First Class. They did really well with him. They did absolutely amazing with him because they showed the versatility in his powers. Yeah, his powers are, yeah, he screams in order to fly, but he can use it in very specific type of ways, right? That are really cool. In 97, no, he's still alive. He's still alive. Yeah, he's still alive. Will Storm get her powers back? We'll find. No, I'm just kidding. I do think that she's gonna get her powers back, and then she's gonna be a sight to behold when she. I feel like she's gonna get her powers in a crutch moment. I only have two theories for her getting her powers back. Either it's going to be a slow build up, like she's starting to feel a little bit, right? We might get like an ending where she's like tapping on the table and then there's a little bit of lightning, or her eyes show a little bit of lightning. And then she realizes her powers are actually coming back and they're not fully gone, right? Or someone makes a device in order to reverse what's been done to her. One of the two. Yeah. It's pretty phenomenal, dude. When do you think Madeline and Jean switch places? Oh, bro. So that's a really great question. I think that you remember the time when Sinister. I wish I could bring up a clip fast enough, but the time when Mr. Sinister captured Cyclops and also Jean, the first time when they were in the Savage Land, that's when I think post that version is when they switched. I could be wrong because that was a long time ago. We got a lot of favorite mutants in common. Nice, nice. Yeah, my favorite is Cyclops. Second is gonna be Forget Me Not, and then it's followed by, you know, a couple other characters such as like Nightcrawler, Iceman, and other characters. Some of my favorites are Iceman, Darwin, Banshee. Yeah, those are yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, I love Sync too. I love Sync and I love Manifold. Yeah. Who's this? This is Madeline Pryor. She's the clone of Jean Grey. And she's technically Omega level mutant, but I feel like we've seen Jean surpass the abilities of Madeline, even though they have uh, the same genetic potential. Yeah, but we haven't seen Madeline showcase the range of abilities like we have Jean, though. Turn for No Saga. Oh man, that would be great. How was she cloned? Mr. Sinister just cloned her. Just knocked her out, cloned her. Took her genetic. Because you remember, uh, oh, Jericho, you think they would bring. Imagine if this was Jericho the whole time? It's not Magneto. Imagine. No, but I forgot my thought. That threw me off. Yeah, Maddie did focus on demon magic instead. That's why she's the Goblin Queen, which I think is fitting for her. How many Omega level mutants do we currently have? Also, would Darwin be considered Omega level? He's not, which is weird. It it's really weird that honestly, because we have seen Darwin be unalived in the comic books, though. We've seen him come back in the Krakoan age, though. But he is. It's weird. I don't consider Darwin is one of those characters that I have a different layer of description for it, and I don't want to say Omega level, but it's weird to categorize him. I have the same. The, so there are certain characters with mutant abilities that I feel like do not fall into any of the categories. For example, for those of you who have been reading the comic books, um, Moira McTaggart, right? So some of you are going to be like, Moira McTaggart, she's just a geneticist. We've seen her in the X-Men animated TV show. So in 2018, Jonathan Hickman released Powers of 10 and House of X. And that revolutionized everything when it has to do with X-Men in the comic books. I am sad to say that in 2024, we are coming to the end of Krakoa Age. But needless to say, they introduced Moira McTaggart as a mutant. I have a whole playlist covering the lives of Moira McTaggart. And you might say the lives. That's because her powers are the power of resurrection I said resurrection, it's not resurrection. It is reincarnation. But it isn't true. It's something a little bit more vast than reincarnation. So let me try to explain it in the best way I can possible and ask questions if need be. Moira McTaggart, when she gains her abilities like mutants do at whatever age, right? Because she doesn't have physical mutations. Because some mutants will have physical mutations upon birth, right? For most mutants, they do it when they reach puberty, right? Their teenage years. And for her, she doesn't know what her powers are yet. Her powers don't. Her powers emerge when she is at puberty, but her powers don't work until she gets unalived, right? It could be unnatural causes or just causes. The person in the picture, sorry, that is highly confusing. This is Madeline Pryor on the video, but that's not who I'm talking about. So that could get confusing for people who just popped in. My bad, guys. Um, so the person I'm talking about is Moira McTaggart. So Moira McTaggart, when she passes away, she reincarnates into where she was as a baby. You guys are probably like, okay, but that's not all. When she passes away, everything within her universe resets with her back into her fetal state when she was a baby in the womb. That is astronomical. So that means from point A to point B, if she lives up to point B, she dies in point B, everyone, everything that was with her at point B resets with her. But that's not all. She remembers everything from point B. So if she's lived up to 90 something years old, she will have every ounce of her memories of that timeline and then reset. It is broken, but somehow they were able to do it in a phenomenal way and use it as a plot device. Mrs. Sinister also used it. So, well, she can't manipulate the time stream, right? But she has used it in a way. Yeah, if you watch, there's a playlist, The Lives of Moira McTaggart. I have to continue it because we actually get a little bit past some divergent versions of her. But I have a whole playlist. It should be on the top tabs. The Lives of Moira McTaggart. It was one of my most popular series that I did it because I covered every single one of her lives except for the one where she became a form of robot version of herself. Yeah. Her death is essentially time manipulation. Oh yeah, basically, yeah. And she has all of her memories, so it's really outstanding how they were able to utilize it. So, in short, she went through multiple different lives, and in each of the lives, the end result always ended in mutant destruction through the hands of artificial intelligence that came in the form of AI or then Sentinels. But then ultimately, it was truly through the Phalanx towards the end of one of her lives, right? I think that was the sixth life of sorts, but it's like, it's so good, right? No, I already have mods. I appreciate you, though, brother. I appreciate you. Yeah, her and Darwin would probably be right under Omega in their own level. Yeah, it's like a universal. I don't know what I would truly call Moira McTaggart because hers is a passive ability, right? It's not an active ability. If you're wondering, like, what is the active versus a passive ability is one that you don't control. It's one that it happens when it happens. Darwin's powers is passive. He's a passive mutant, so his powers will activate on a subconscious level. With it's well, not on a subconscious level. His autonomic system will activate it by itself. So everyone has an autonomic system. Every human being has an autonomic system. So think about your heart as part of your autonomic system. You don't say heartbeat, right? Or control it. It beats on its own. Their mutant powers are very similar. They activate when need be. It's part of their autonomic system, right? So that's the best way I could. Sorry if that was confusing about Mortimer Tiger's abilities, but that's Mortimer Tiger. She's one of my favorite mutants of all time too. Just because it really put me in a place where I thought about all of the old X-Men comic books. I'm like, oh man, this is one of Moira's lives. This is why all of this happened. It's amazing. So yeah, didn't Darwin turn into death itself? I can't remember. I believe so. He turned into like an embodiment of death of sorts, right? To escape death. Yeah, he's done so many different things, Darwin, in order to Darwin see Darwin's powers work in a very because his powers are not active. There is a comic book line where he teleported. His body just teleported itself away from danger just so that he wouldn't die, but he left his team. So it's one of those things. Iska the Unbeaten is a really weird mutant too. That she's Omega level, but I feel like she's in a category all on her own too, right? So I know we're not talking about X Men '97 stuff. We're just talking about mutants in general. But yeah, it's there are some mutants that I feel like they have a class. They're like passive Omega level mutants. That's what I'll call them. That's not really a cool name, but yeah, passive level Omega level mutants. I love the reboot of X Men. This is definitely hits. Oh, Sunny, let me tell you something. It is so amazing. Pretty dope series of comics so far. Yeah, passive Omega. Yeah, passive omega. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's the best thing I could call. Like who else? Darwin is a passive omega. I'm gonna make a whole video on it. I'm gonna make a video on it. Passive omega level mutants. I gotta find it. What's a synonym for passive? I need a cooler word. Uh, those are not cool. Unresistant, non-resistant, unassertive, obedient. What? Oh boy, I don't mean like that. Un uninvolved. These are the worst words ever. Glad I could help. I'll be watching that video. Yeah, I'm trying to something a little bit more passive sounds like I don't know. Another time. Genuinely curious about how many mutants are like that. There's a couple. Legion? Huh, he ate. Uh I wouldn't say no, Legion is not passive Omega. The only reason why but I understand why you do think that he's passive Omega. We're using the term now. Let's go. The reason why it seems like he's passive Omega is because of his psychosis, right? Because of Legion psychosis, he has multiple personalities, and each of his personalities contain a ability or a set of abilities, right? Depending on the personality itself. But Legion has the potential to control it, but it's just because of him, right? He happened to be a person who has because if Legion didn't have his abilities, he's just a person with multiple personalities, right? Lesser dominant as a like a category. But yeah, it's yeah, Legion in the comic books right now, at least in the Krakoan age, he has a lot more infinite personalities too. Yeah, he does because in reality, each of his personalities could have a subcategory of a personality within its own consciousness, right? So I don't think people understand how vast Legion's personalities are. Le- they're in they're entire entities within themselves, right? So if you want to truly understand like Legion and how vast it is, think about a dream that you've ever had where there's people in your dreams, right? Now imagine that those people have their own their own thoughts, their desires, their wants. And now think about how those versions within that dream state, right, that you've ever experienced can also think and imagine things on their own. So then it could diverge into a lot of different pathways. Think about it like Split. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And then it could diverge even farther than that. So if you were to combine Split and also Inception together, then we have Legion. Then we have Legion. It's wild. Yeah, it's not just like, oh, he kind of acts like a person. No, their entire personalities inside. There's like a whole colony of people, and it could go infinitely, right? Depending on his psychosis. But in Legion of X, which is one of his teams in the Krakoan Age, he has gained mastery over his mutant abilities, and he's locked away personalities. He's locked them away. Could they escape? Well, the Krakoan Age is about to end, so I'm not too sure what's gonna happen. Split is so good. Split is so good. Such a great movie. I wonder if we're gonna see Technovirus taking over Nathan. I do think we're gonna see it. I do. Uranos still work Legion. Yeah, he did. In the comic books, he did work Legion. I wish we got to see what actually happened. Because after that, Legion then ascended into something that's akin to godhood. So I wonder if that's going to be a plot device that's going to conclude. There's a couple of I don't want to say holes, but plots that need to be, uh, I don't know, just cleaned up or explored before it ends. So Darwin is one because he's, I guess, a form of intelligence. I don't want to say artificial intelligence. He's a form of intelligence within the vault. And then we have Legion, who's ascended into this form of godhood, but he's like left his plane of existence. We only knew this from the Nightcrawler comic books and things of that nature. He tied him in power, but Legion lost the Battle of Wills. Yes. So yeah. Uh, yeah. So before we kind of end, because we're going off, we're not even talking about X-Men '97, so we need to do. Uh, yeah, Darwin and Legion need explored before it's done. Yeah, it's just my prediction for a couple other things did get closed. I knew Brew was gonna bring the Brood to help out. I made a video about that probably about a couple of years ago, and it came to fruition. Like I knew there was gonna be a war, and because Brew is now in charge of the Brood, that he's gonna be like, I got your back. I got your back. Um, but there's certain elements. Yeah, those are the two main ones: Darwin and Legion. Speak that boy Darwin into existence. Yeah. So before I kind of switch back, right? Spiral. Oh, Spiral. Spiral is. I'm not too sure about her origin truly, but I know she's from the Mojo verse and she follows Mojo. And she does his deeds and she goes on missions. I'm not too sure about like her. I don't believe she's a mutant. She's an alien. She's part of an alien race. I could be totally wrong, or she's genetically modified humanoid being. I'm a little bit uneducated on her. I have like surface level knowledge on her. Raymond, why you said F? What happened? Did I say something wrong? Um. So yeah, she bleeds green like Shatterstar. Shatterstar has a story. Shatterstar's father is himself, basically. Oh man, there's like some videos on Shatterstar. Shatterstar is a weird character. He's a cool character until you get to know his origin story. So yeah. And did you guys know that there's a fourth brother of the Summers, but he's not a Summers brother? Oh yeah, he's his own grandpa, something like that, right? Wasn't he a mutant in Deadpool too? Yeah. No, there's someone else, but he's not a Summers though. A lot of people don't know about this one because he X-Men, because it was released about 2 years ago. 2 years ago they released the X-Men comic books that kind of clean up loose plot holes or mysteries of that sort. I think they finished that comic book line. Do you guys know who it is? It's not Vulcan. Vulcan we know. He's the third Summers brother. I give you a hint. His ability is to. Yeah, you got it. Adam X. Yeah, he's a brother. He's actually the he's his mother is Cyclops' mom, Alex's and Vulcan's mom, but it is Corsair. Not Corsair. It's not Corsair. Their dad is not Corsair. There's only four of them, but three that are mom and dad. Deken. Deken is his dad. Adam X's dad is Deken, and then their mom is the mom. So yeah, yeah. Adam X is a weird character. His powers are kind of like what can he do? He could ignite blood. That's what he can do. He could ignite blood, and it's combustible. That's his power. Um, I actually love that comic book when they found out that he was a long lost brother. It's actually a sad story though because then you realize that he was born from a form of SA. Can't say it because TikTok, but Deken basically um, abused the mom and fornicated, and then we got Adam X. So I should actually cover that book line. It's a it's pretty profound type of book. Think we'll get Nate Gray? I don't think we're gonna get Nate Gray. If we do, I think no, we can get Nate Gray. We could get an Age of Apocalypse type of character popping in and then becomes a mainstay character. Because that's Nate's origin, right? Nate Gray it comes from a different timeline. He comes from the Age of Apocalypse. Correct, chat? Did they close Miss Marvel and Rogue Loop? Uh, did they? I feel like they did in some type of way. Like if we were to see them again, they would probably like punch each other, but they wouldn't. It would be. I don't know. I totally forgot about that. I know in the comic books they're good. You know what I mean? But in the, I don't think we got full closure, full closure, right? Other than Rogue feeling bad. I don't know. Do you think that they're gonna follow the story of Cable helping Apocalypse unlock this celestial tech? No, no. It might get very. That could take over the whole entire show. Yeah. Really? Nate is part of the future timeline? I thought he was part of the Age of Apocalypse. I don't know. They kind of did it already, the celestial tech. That had to do more with his like resurrection of sorts. There's an episode where Apocalypse unlocked the ship. Yeah, there is an episode. Yeah, they already did it, Mr. Sinister. You're right. Wait, uh, I have to look up the Nate Gray stuff now. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I just, I wonder if they're gonna bring X-Men into the MCU. They will. Nate was in the Krakoa era. No, he wasn't. He was prior. He was prior to the Krakoa era, and he ascended, right? Because that's when Nate made that whole entire reality, and then so that's so weird because they never brought that up again, right? Nate never came back. Yeah, and that never came back. Nathan never came back. So because he ascended to a different. That's so weird because Legion ascended to another plane of existence too. What the hell is going on? I just realized that. Uh, what? So Nate, all right, because that's when Nate was looking like his Jesus mode, and then he ascended at the end of that whole era thing, and then Legion. I don't want to say recently ascended, but he did ascend in the Krakoa age. Where are they all ascending to? Where are they going? And how come they haven't come back? Are they going to use it for like Bishop should know Cable is a Summers. Yeah, he does he? Because he makes it seem like he doesn't. All right, so Nate Gray is also known as X Men, right? X Man is a character. Da, 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 da. Nate is an alternative version of Cable, created by a villain Sinister in the Age of Apocalypse storyline. Yeah, he's a clone. He's a clone of Cable within the Age of Apocalypse storyline, but except he just doesn't have the techno organic, so he was able to utilize the full potential of his abilities, which is Omega level. That's true. Yeah, I had to look it up. Sorry. What about Strife? Strife is a clone of Cable too. No, 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 no. My bad. It's all right. We learn together. It's something worth talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah, we jam out together. That's it. That's how we do here. No one's gonna come at you. If they do, they're blocked. Um. So yeah, deep stuff, guys. This is a great talk. said I was gonna bounce a couple of times because I got to stream later. I'm gaming streaming later. Uh, but we gotta watch a couple more. We gotta watch some of those scenes one more time. Yeah, he does have no techno organic, but I feel like Nate was more genetically perfect. You know what I mean? Is the legacy virus coming up? It's already 6. Yeah, I'm not streaming till later. It's coming up in the show. I do think the legacy virus is gonna come up again, but briefly. I don't think it's because we had the legacy virus in the old show, but I think because we have um, Nathan, that we'll get it again. Yeah, that's gonna be a. I don't know how they're gonna pull this off. They will pull it off, but they're gonna have to give it a couple episodes. Cable isn't technically perfect because he's mentally keeping the tech. Yeah, there is a comic book line. It's a long time ago I read that where he all of a sudden didn't have the techno organic virus and his powers went crazy. And that's because exactly what you said, that he always keeps it at bay so much that it's become an unconscious thing, right? Where it became passive. It was active at first, but now it's a passive ability where he uses his abilities to keep it at bay, which is pretty phenomenal. He's constantly keeping himself alive. Yeah. Do you think Storm is going to Wakanda? No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. You mean at the end of the episode? Really? 90%? I thought it was a little bit more than that. I thought he was using like a great amount of his abilities to hold it back. Because the techno organic virus is something that is purging him not just on a surface level, but also on a DNA based level too. Like if he was to let it just take over, it takes over on an atomic scale. Well, not atomic, a cellular level, right? Yep, I agree, Mr. Sinister 2002. He would be Omega. Because then he would be Nate Gray. Basically. He would be Nate. All right, here we go. Before we kind of conclude, we got to watch it one more time. Give him the damn forecast.
Give him the fork.
Hold on. That's stuff was in the way.
Give him the forecast.
Omega level threat detected.
Chef's kiss. Yeah, I agree, Leo. A really complex character, too. Me too.
Ancient sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred!
That part was kind of clutch, though. Like, what if the Sentinel fell on them? I guess they saw how it was falling, but still, I always thought about that. Um, like, like guys, could have been a little bit more careful. Like, look at this. That was pretty close. Um, yeah, she did not lose her mojo at all. She sounds just as amazing, if not more amazing, than she did in the early 90s. They're always dodging, falling stuff all the time, and they make it. Opening gave you chills. Yeah, it's so good. It gave me that feeling, that vibe, right? Let me see. He said Cable. He really uses kinetic abilities. Yeah, and some people are confused about Cable and how he's holding back the techno organic virus. So this just proves that he's a Omega. He could be a Omega level mutant. This is why I say he's using more than just 90% of his abilities, right? So if we were to tear like abilities, he has telepathic abilities and telekinesis, right? So then people will ask the question, well, how is he holding back the techno organic virus? Like he's just holding it together and then that's it? Yes. Yes, but there's a couple of things that go with that. When you go to the extreme levels of telekinesis, what you're basically doing is you're you can kind of technically reality warp on a micro level. Why? Because you're rearranging atoms, right? But what Cable is doing is he's stabilizing the atomical structure of the techno-organic virus and not letting it move any farther. He's keeping it as bay. He's keeping it at bay. That's it. So yeah, so imagine all of the atoms it takes to that comprise of the techno-organic virus. He's holding them stable, right? But he's holding it stable enough to uh, cover his arm, right? Because it is spreading. It does spread, and it spreads as much as he grows, right? So when he had it as a baby, or I mean a teen, such forth, his arms got longer, so the techno-organic virus did spread, and he's gained a level of mastery over time to the point where it's now a passive ability. It's kind of in sync with his autonomic system. He no longer needs to um, does he need to consciously activate it? Yes and no. More so when he was younger, less so than when he's older, right? But in extreme situations where he's kind of like at a mental he's mentally distraught or he seems weakened or he's about to get unalive, it's gonna it's just gonna like fully just take over, right? We've seen comic books like that where that's happened. That's why his arm can't go back to being flesh. Exactly. Help. Isn't Cable Madeline Pryor's son? Yes, you're absolutely right. That is. We were just looking at a picture of her. She's right here. uh, well, hold on. Well, if you're looking on horizontal, you can see it. But yeah, Maddie is definitely his mom by helping terminally ill and holding it back. That's why I figured he goes God Jesus mode by helping terminally ill people and hold it back. Which comic line is that? Is that I wonder if that's the comic book where he wilds out. The first Jean isn't Jean. No, she's not. She's not. Not at all, actually. All right, let's get to another clip. That was the first clip. Mentor, we kind of watched that already. Uh, someone mentioned that the intro, so let's watch the intro one more time. 20 years ago. Intro with Maggie. Madeline Pryor. Now every time we see the intro, we're like, Maddie. It's Madeline Pryor. They did Morph really good. Mr. Sinister, you just mentioned him too. Okay, one thing that I never try to do is this. Okay. I never really paid attention to the mutants that were there. I guess they just kept these Emma was she in the old intro? Gambit seems out of place this time around. In terms of what do you mean? He seems pretty much in there. Sabretooth. I want to see Sabretooth come back. I feel like this one was definitely animated Sabretooth, gritty. Yeah, juggy. I want them to like change Emma's outfit though. Let me see. Yo, Sentinels are crazy. They really made robots that big. It's wild. This makes me want to read the comics. Seek, come on, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to read the comics. I'm telling you, it's highly more detailed, right? But it's good. Both are great. Zeke, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. I like how they use Morph as a shout out character. Me too. It is genius, right, Ryan? Um, Characters that we might not see in the show, like he'll morph into them because he, I guess, met them at some point or studied them in the danger room. I don't know. It's pretty cool because we got to see Psylocke. I don't know why I say Psylocke. We got to see Psylocke. We saw Colossus. We saw Angel with his metal wings. Who else did we see him turn into so far? Blob, right? In that fight. Let's go check that out real quick. Lady Deathstrike, yeah. Professor. Yeah, so I think I'm right about Morph can only mimic physical abilities. He can't energy based of any kind he cannot mimic. Yeah, yeah, it's only physical thingamajiggies. I'm a powers person. Like people are really good on knowing like the date, the comic, the name, but I'm good at explaining the powers and abilities. No, he can't. Do we think Hank will use the energy that turn off Storm? I think he'll find a reversal. Either they're gonna find a reversal to turn her powers back on, or there's they were wrong about it being fully off, like forever type of thing. Like she'll gain, like her abilities will start to come back little by little by little, right? So when Morph turns into Psylocke and uses her Psy, is that part of him metal? Yes. So yeah, it's pretty interesting how he can do that. So it's the same thing when he turns into like Archangel. He can release some of those darts from the actual the wings. Uh we've seen him when he turned into like Wolverine. He's turned into Wolverine. He had the claws. They're not truly adamantium, but they're metal in they're trying to be as, I don't know, as strong as the adamantium, but they're not quite there. But his claws have been like knocked off and they fell off. So it's a part of him. So when he makes Psylocke's sword, it is a part of him that can be detached. It could drop on the floor and then that's it, right? Which is pretty interesting because he does have a level of regeneration, but not just of regeneration, but on a cellular level, he can expand, right? And he can replicate. It's pretty interesting. So his, if we were to truly explain his powers, he's morphing, but there's a cellular replication is also happening too, and higher levels of healing. Yeah, Shadow King is gonna heal Storm. Oh, that's how we get Weather Witch. Imagine. So he could be Colossus. He has been Colossus in the episode. Yeah, in episode 2, right, chat? He turned into Colossus. But is his metal as strong as Colossus's? No. No, it's not the strongest version of it. Yeah, so he can't replicate and make adamantium or make vibranium, but he can make something that his body thinks is akin to it based on him mimicking that person. And that's why I say that he's He's going through like cellular replication or cellular division on a really fast scale because he can turn into Captain America and make the shield, make a shield. It won't be vibranium, but it'll be something akin to it, um, that he can release. You know what I mean? So it's Morph is pretty complex when we think about his abilities. It's not just morphing; it's something else is happening. Darwin plus morph powers combined would be god level. Yes, if Darwin could control his powers actively. Yeah. Because then technically Darwin is already like Morph, but he just can't control it. It's a passive ability. I hope they do a 97 version of X-Men anime openings. That would be dope for like later seasons. Yeah. All right, let me. Yeah, agreed, Ryan. I agree. This was a dope fight. It was quick, but it was dope. Moroccan, that would be so dope, bro. I would love that because I love X Factor's team. Even though this was kind of like it was still dope how he used the Sentinel.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful involuntary friendship.
That kick. That was a great save. Oh, here's the scene that I forgot. We're gonna get Onslaught. I just know it. You think so? Um, when they went against Master Mold, I forgot about that. It was a quick scene, but that's when we saw the combo. Yeah, that's what I was just mentioning that. I think that was. I hope we see more of that. More mutant combos where they utilize their powers in a sync type of way, right? So I do hope we get moves that we saw in like X-Men Legends. For those of you who played X-Men Legends, like I want to see Cyclops, I don't know, like beam his optic blast off of the Wolverine's adamantium claws, right? For it to bounce off or something of the nature. I don't know. Or for Storm to combine her thunder in Cyclops' like beam as soon as he shoots it or something of the nature, right? I don't know. Something unique, something pretty cool, you know? Master mode. I want to see the dimension. Yeah, they only that is really I feel like I got to do a video on that, the punch dimension, because they barely have showcased that dimension. I think it was a Captain Marvel book where they showcased it. Uh, yeah, it's weird. It's weird because they barely mention it. Yeah, X-Men Legends was so good, so good. I don't know if I can find that clip fast enough, guys. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna find it. You want them to combine jutsus? Absolutely. The punch dimension. Yeah, unless I'm wrong, I feel like I'm right. Yeah, it's the punch dimension. Yeah, I was right. When it comes to powers, I know my stuff. Powers, I know my stuff. Dates, comic book release, nah. I gotta like research and then like memorize it. Yeah, it's called the punch dimension, but yeah, think about it like concussive, just a concussive dimension. The punch dimension actually sounds kind of corny, but whatever. So he can teleport his eyes to other dimensions? No, his eyes are only a portal to the punch dimension, to the that concussive force dimension. Yeah. I'm trying to see what comic book did they dub it the punch dimension? Which comic book did they Cyclops' ability from the punch dimension? Yeah, I just want to give you guys like accurate information to follow up if you guys wanted to research. The ability Cyclops project powerful optic blast from his eyes originates from the concept of punch dimension. The term refers to the idea that simple beams rather than the concept of punch dimension was introduced in the comics as an explanation of Cyclops' optic blast in X-Men number 39, written by Roy Thomas and illustrated by Werner Roth. Okay, the idea has been a consistent part of Cyclops' backstory. If you're wondering where I got that information, I just typed in the question in Chat GBT. I'm not gonna go through Google; it's gonna take too long. Um, so X-Men 39 is the punch dimension. Now, a video game would be clutch with this. Yeah, for sure. No wonder since is obsessed with him. Yeah, yeah, because they're him and Jean's genetic combination makes for some like truly powerful mutants. That's such a weird power set. Where did that even come from? What the power? I guess they just thought about it because originally they thought it came from he was going through something akin to photosynthesis and then metabolized uh, the solar radiation and then basically process it through his eyes to expel it. But yeah, am I the only one that respects but doesn't like Cyclops? I love Cyclops, that's why. But I respect what you said though. Cyclops has always been my favorite character. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. He's like Leonardo. For me, you know, the characters the characters who do the right things for the right reasons, even though they're not perfect, those are usually my favorite characters. So yeah, so the Boy Scout characters, because I always try to aim to be a person who does the right things for the right reasons. So like the Superman, the Cyclops, the Captain America. Even though Captain America is not one of my favorites, I still respect the character. So yeah, those are characters that I kind of looked up to as a kid growing up to try to aspire to be like as a man, right? To be strong, but to do the right things for the right reasons. So that's why those characters were always my favorite type of characters. Not so much for their powers, but for their leadership, right? Being able to lead people, even people who are stronger than them, that they can stand in front of them and guide them. Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Cap became like truly a fan favorite after the MCU, for sure. He's more powerful than people think. Exactly, Mikey, for sure. I've always been the intelligent underdog. Beast, Donatello. Nice. See, yeah, that's interesting. See, like I love hearing about that, like the philosophical and the in-depth reasons why you guys like other people like characters, right? So that's a great topic to even talk about, right? Maybe we can get into it briefly. So for you all, why do you like certain characters? What is it about the characters that you like? Is it, or it could be surface level, right? For some of you guys, it's surface level where it's just like, I just like them because they have cool powers, right? Uh, Gambit is that dude. He is. He is that dude. Iceman can freeze the Earth simple. He can. He really can. Right? He helped to terraform a whole entire planet with Storm and a couple others. Wolverine's toughness. I like Wolverine because he can come back to life. He already got all those. What time are you streaming later? Probably 8:30, 9. That's about. I've always liked X-Men because of the overall team dynamics. Nice. Cyclops is the GOAT. My main is always in Marvel vs. Capcom games. Yeah, absolutely amazing. I like Nightcrawler because of his story, and plus teleportation has always been a favorite of mine. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that his is a his is a whole different. His teleportation is he's going through a whole different dimension too. It's another dimensional type of thing, which is weird. I definitely enjoyed this X-Men. I appreciate you, Tiff. I'll see you later. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Everyone has hooked up with somewhere else. What, an X-Men? Venom is my favorite. I have two Venom tats. Nice. Nice. I like X-Men because of the drama. And I think that's why they brought in the whole Gambit the and Rogue and Magneto thing because of the drama. There's always some type of drama in X-Men. And I don't think there's gonna be the Madeline Pryor, Jean Grey, and Cyclops thing. But I don't think we're gonna see too much of the Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey portions. I don't think we're gonna see too much of that anymore. Nightcrawler makes more sense than Cyclops. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. I like Storm's new look. Yeah, me too. I love it. Love it. Yeah, it's a whole different type of teleportation. So cool to see. Yeah, I often wondered about that if it can be considered truly teleportation because he's not displacing his atoms. Actually, he is. What am I talking about? He's transporting from one dimension to another dimension. He's opening a door, closing a door behind him. Yeah, he is displacing his atoms from one location to another. Isn't her mohawk retro? Yeah, yeah. It's always been a thing. Like some people, I guess, for newer watchers who are not familiar with the comic books and also uh, some of the lore, she's had the mohawk for a really long time. Because some people had gripes about the mohawk. I'm like, what? What are you guys talking about? Gambit is the character I'd want to be, but absolutely in love with Storm. Yeah, she's dope. They did her so time warp, time warps when he goes through a dimension. But yeah, I like Darwin because he got that dog in him. Spider-Man versus Venom 30th anniversary hologram. Oh man, I think I have that. No, I don't. I think no, I think I have that comic book. I think so. I have so many comic books here. Maybe Wolverine and Stormlove. Yeah, we might get that. We might, because they um they showed that in the old animated TV show when they had that alternate timeline thing. That's when she had the mohawk. Ancient Sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred. We were just talking about that, William. Like the lines. Whew. Wish we got more Nightcrawler's father in the movies. Oh, Azazel? Yeah. Even though you guys know who his father really is, though. It's no long. It's genetically Azazel, but it's actually Mystique. Sorry, I missed a lot of comments. I feel like Cyclops in the comics now has grown and realized his mistakes he's made. Agreed. Agreed. Because Cyclops is one of those characters who has become a Boy Scout, was tired of being the Boy Scout, did some like really bad stuff because he's just like, yo, I'm tired of my people going through this stuff and I'll do whatever it takes. Kind of becoming something that's akin to Magneto, has lived through that experience, messed up, and then said, I'm going back to my roots of a Boy Scout, but I'll do whatever it takes. But it's still like a combination of the two, right? And I just the parallel to that is just becoming wiser, right? As we age, we start to become wiser of our trials and tribulations, our mistakes, and we know what we got to do. Like some of my favorite lines for Cyclops in the Krakoan age, his quote is, "Does it need doing?" And then Professor X is like, "Yeah," and then he's like, "It will be," and then he said, "It will be done." Something akin to that, right? It's kind of like whatever needs to be done, I got you. You know? Yeah, he says, doesn't need doing, then it will be done. He said that in like X-Men number, I forgot, 3 or something. Gladiator's coming back, no way they leave him out. Oh man, that was such a beautiful scene with Gladiator. The music they played was godlike. Yeah, I would love to see the Shi'ar Empire come back. Even if they're not, they're just coming back to help out the X-Men. That'd be so dope. So dope. Aren't they redoing Street Sharks? Street Sharks, wow. I don't even know. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop out of here. Any other questions before I hop out? And let me know if you guys enjoyed this X-Men '97 TikTok podcast. If you did, then we'll do another one. Um, it's been a minute, but it was just to be so. Oh, really? Okay, I watched it twice already. How did they explain Mystique being Nightcrawler's father? Oh, pretty. They did it well. It seems like some people say they pulled it out of their, backside, but damn, I just logged on to the stream. Oh, my bad, bro. My bad. No, I'm still gonna be on for a little bit. How is Mystique? Let me see if I have the comic book for you guys, so I could point you guys in the right direction. You doing retro Sundays tomorrow? Absolutely, bro. We're gonna do it 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this as fast as possible to explain it, but it's gonna seem a little bit rushed. So basically, um, Mystique had met Azazel. Check, check. All right. Uh, she can transform into characters. People don't know when she transforms into characters. She doesn't just transform into them like the outward appearance. Inside changes too, but that goes on a genetic level as well. So her and Destiny, um, Irene Adler, for those of you who don't know, Irene Adler is a mutant who has the ability to basically see variants of different forms of the future. She could see into the future, but possible pathways, right? She's a precog. But anyway, I was just giving her their powers too. I didn't have to do that. But basically, they wanted to have a baby, didn't know how to. She basically transformed into what could be Azazel, did it with Irene Adler. The genetic makeup was still there. Sperm followed through, and then we get Nightcrawler. People will say they pulled it out. There, but a lot of people don't know that that was supposed to be the original story, but because of the times they didn't do that. Let me see. Do I have the book over here? It's not. I have so many comic books over here. It's like here somewhere. Yeah, that was supposed to be the original idea. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. Some people hate it. Some people like me just think it's even better storytelling. I don't know. I'm the type who. So all right. So then the question would be, some people have asked. I've seen it on comics. Is Nightcrawler related to Azazel? Yes. On a genetic DNA level, yes. Yes. Because the movies they use Mystique DNA to make future Sentinels. Yes, and that's how they do the Resistance. Yeah. How old is Mystique? I'm not too sure of the age, but she's pretty. Her and Irene are pretty old, but more so Mystique. Yeah. Again, Irene Adler is a mutant and she's a precog. Yeah, she's called Destiny. I want to do another video. She's a big part of the powers of 10 in House of X, especially when it comes to Moira Tiger. I wanted to do a separate video that was a sister or a bridge to my Moira Tiger videos, because we have something that's called the Books of Destiny, and they tell a lot of things. Indeed. Ryan, let me tell you something. It was so good. It was absolutely amazing. It's great. But wasn't she in the Apocalypse storyline? Who? Irene? What's up to with two Jean Greys? Oh, one is a clone. uh yeah, she was. Yeah, she was. Yeah. Yeah, she was. Irene was part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants for a long time. In the Krakoa age, they actually did her powers really well. Uh, because Irene is blind, and I think some people didn't know that she was blind. So some of the comic books, especially in the Krakoa age, there was a really great book with her, Rogue, Gambit, and Irene does not like Gambit. But it's kind of like that. that motherhood type of thing. So it's like my daughter, I don't know why she picked you. Da 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 da. And they're joking, and Irene like dodges a hit. And for folks who are seeing that, they're probably like, "What? Like she's blind? How did she know?" Like her knowing like different pathways into possible futures, she could kind of predict what is going to happen. So her abilities were kind of explored really quickly in a short scale, a little bit deeper though. That she can use that to defend herself, her abilities. That she's not sensing the world around her or anything of that nature, like a ninja who no longer needs to see, um but instead she's using her powers in order to know what's about to happen. Is the Krakoa Age the storyline now? It is, but it's about to end, unfortunately. What I hope, we're about to get a whole new age of X-Men comic books. Let me bring up a picture. I'm not excited for it. Am I gonna read it? Yes, because I'm willing. It's just, I must say that I am one of those people who are I love the old, so it's gonna be hard for me to get to the new. But when the Krakoa storyline was introduced in 2019, I was thoroughly hyped for it though. I was so open for the new because for me, it was the rebirth of the X-Men coming back from what was the downhill of the X-Men because they were trying to explore the Inhumans a little bit too much, and that had to do with who owned the rights for certain characters. There's a dope the Friends of Humanity. That alone is a the resurrection plot is interesting. It's so good to me. Some people don't like that stuff. I think they did it pretty well. I think they should do more with Juggernaut character in the story. Yeah. Hopefully they return Juggernaut to his glory. Oh, that's another plot point that they didn't really wrap up fully to me. Doctor Doom's X-Men, his own X-Men team. I know they made peace with the X-Men in the Krakoan age, but are they going to rely on them again to help them because they did say like we got your back if you need us type of thing. Hopefully. Yeah, the way they did it with Moira Tiger was simply amazing. And that's usually my gripe when it comes to storylines that include time travel or time this and time that, is that the writers back themselves into a corner. But I must say, I do think that the Krakoan age is being rushed towards this end. And I do think they're about to back themselves into a corner where we have a lackluster ending. Yep. Because if they're about to do what I think they're about to do, then because what they're trying to do now is kind of like a time travel thing, where they go back in time and stop someone from doing this, and then it resets everything. So right now, what they're trying to do is she's Moira. It's so confusing. That's why I have to do a video to continue my Moira Tiger videos. Moira Tiger technically is not unalive right now. She is in a robot body. She was for mutants, and then she went against the mutants because she felt like they turned on them, even though her whole plan was to create Krakoa alongside Magneto and Professor Charles Xavier. But things went to pot, and she ended up being what she didn't want to happen. She ended up becoming a machine. It's weird. Yeah, it's so weird. I'm tr- I already found the picture that I'm looking for, but I'm trying to save it so that there's. All right, this one is okay. There's more pictures to this chat, but they're giving me pictures that I can't really save, and I'm like, oh. All right, maybe this. Oh, this is better. Yes, thank you. There we go. Thank you, internet. You're not another Legion quest type story. Oh man, I hope. Yeah, we'll see. Any more Phoenix stories? Right now, they're doing a Phoenix story to resurrect the Phoenix within the Krakoan age. So in X-Men Forever, I believe they just did that storyline. They're doing that storyline. My Korean girlfriend says that she's being 6'2" blonde is a little. Wait, what do you mean, Ryan? I have to do a four con. My Korean girlfriend says that being 6'2" blonde guy is a little too on the nose. Really? All right, here's the picture chat of what's gonna be the X-Men coming up. Am I hyped for it? Kind of. Wait, did I sync it over here? Nope, I didn't. Hold on, chat. Give me a second, because some of you are not watching in vertical. I forgot. Pardon my slowness right now. Okay, there we go. It's gonna be hard for you guys to see a little bit some of this stuff, but I'll try to pinpoint. So this is what's coming out. The new X-Men, so to speak. It looks exciting, but for everything that's happened in the Krakoan line, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like it happened, and then we had such a great time with it, and now it's just being thrown away. Because Cyclops looks really young right here. That could just be the illustration, which is I'm fine with. We're about to finish up with the resurrection of Magneto, but then it's like, is that the Magneto that got resurrected? It seems like what they're at the end of the Krakoan line, what's happening is that's Magneto in the chair. See, that alone is like, huh? It looks like he's gonna be the leader of the X-Men, right? They're leaning towards that, just like the X-Men 97. So in the Krakoan line of comic books right now, Juggernaut is part of the X Men in terms of he's teamed up with the mutants. Yeah, there isn't bad guy Juggernaut is not there. He's kind of found his purpose, right? That he didn't want to do all that stuff anymore. That's it in short. He has a really great solo comic that came out a couple of years ago. That was basically his powers got he lost his powers, then he gained his powers back, but not as powerful as it was before. But he ended up doing something pretty good. He saved this mutant girl, and then towards the end of his series, he formed a team, and that never got explored ever again. But later on, we saw him as part of the Krakoan line of comic books, and he's been a good he's been a good guy. He was in Legion of X, and which is Nightcrawler's team, and Legion was kind of like the Professor X, and Zabi was on that team, who is Forget Me Not, and he's a really cool character. Um, Forget Me Not actually got unalived in that line, and he's not in line to be resurrected. So that's a whole thing. I don't know. I like this. The team looks cool, right? I see Iceman up there somewhere. I see um I see a couple of characters. It looks good. You know what I mean? Here's another because there's three teams. There's like a uncanny X-Men team, and then there's another team. This one looks more reminiscent to the one on the left looks more reminiscent to what we know, like the Nightcrawler, the Jubilee, the Gambit, Wolverine. The one in the middle looks like it mixes and matches. It's kind of like an X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold kind of thing, right? What I hope happens, honestly, is that this is just a filler. And we go back to Krakoa. I'm serious. They're drawing Cyclops younger. Yeah, like he went when he was the champions. Yeah, Beast looks like the Beast that I know, though. Right? That's how I remember Beast to always look. What's to the right? Let me try to scan if you're watching on Vert. It looks like Emma Frost is leading a team of brand new mutants. So this is like a brand new team of characters that I've never seen before. I don't know who they are. Un- yeah, I don't know who they are. It's like a new kids team type of thing. I don't know. I'm optimistic for the possibilities, but I'm gonna miss the Krakoa age of comic books because that's what truly got me back into comic books. Honestly, that's why I have a TikTok. That whole line of got me into it, and same thing with my YouTube channel. So I'm gonna miss it. It's I have a graded. So if you're wondering like the Krakoa age, like what does that look like wrapped up into like a picture? I'm gonna show you right now. Like this kind of brings everything full circle. Like I'm gonna miss this for sure. Some people, but there were people who didn't like the Krakoa age. I respect it too. Not me. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So this is Krakoa age. Yeah, I have a couple of graded. I have like a 9.8 graded version of this two picture. Do you have a link to your YouTube? It's the same. I don't have it. It's in my link tree yet. It's Zen Multiverse as well. Same thing. And you guys should check out the Discord. Hop over to the Discord. Link is in the bio too. We talk. We jam out. We post pictures of food. We post comic book stuff. So check that out as well. Yeah, what Jonathan Hickman did with the X Men was amazing. Absolutely amazing. He did so well that future writers had to kind of like follow his pathway. You know what I mean? So it sucks that the Krakoan age is finished. And I know Jonathan Hickman right now is working on the ultimate line of comic books, right? Ultimate everything, which is pretty cool. But I hope he finds a way to come back to the X Men. He always does well with the writing. Like he's my favorite writer. Him. Who else is my favorite writer? I have a couple of favorite writers. I'm looking at my comic book wall because sometimes I forget the names. Um, but he's my number one favorite, Jonathan Hickman. Ugh, I'm looking at names because I can't forget, but I'm forgetting. Ultimate was slipping for a minute there. I didn't read. One I read. Number two I didn't read. Yo, what's going on, brother? How did the Ultimates come back? I thought the universe would died. Yeah, that's a whole. To put it short, this is going to be the shortest version because it could be kind of confusing. The Maker, yeah. The Maker basically was a relic from that universe. He tried to recreate the universe, played around with another universe, tinkered, experimented with it many, 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 many times until it became a copy of that universe, and then took away certain origins from certain characters, and now uh, Tony Stark's son is it Tony Stark's son? Oh, I don't know. It's so much, but basically, there's a couple of people like Doctor Doom and Iron Man who are trying to recreate. Is it something like that? They're in the background preparing for a war that's coming, and like, yeah, there's a lot of things happening. Wasn't it Franklin Richards? No, not Franklin. Franklin was more for Secret Wars. The Maker was Mr. Fantastic and all that. Oh, he was Pet. Yeah, it the Maker did so much. He's the one who was trying to remake but didn't want all the heroes to come back basically. And now they're all getting. Yeah, it is confusing. I'm sorry. Yeah, I would have to do a whole series on that. It is truly confusing. Cuz you would have to read Ultimate Invasion. Read Ultimate Invasion and then Ultimate Invasion leads into that storyline. Leads into the ultimates. The ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate Spider-Man, all of that. Yeah, aka the editor, and that's what he was doing. He's like editing until he got it the way he wanted it, and then yeah, it's good though, Mrs. Sinister. It's really good. You know what story that no one's talking about that I want to cover videos on, but I have to be very careful on how I cover it because it is dense writing to me, but dense in a good way, kind of like Jonathan Hickman's writing. Gods, Marvel Gods. No one's really talking about Gods other than I don't know. Comic books explain when Rob is covering it, or comic book breakdown when they're covering it, but no one's really talking about gods. And I think it's because a lot of the characters are unfamiliar and they're brand new, or they're re-envisioned versions of some characters, like some of the Marvel entities. It's so good though. It's so good. I want to cover it, but I wouldn't want to do it an injustice by trying to go over things really fast. Like one video, like if I was to truly, for me, from my comprehension level, right? I don't subscribe to be someone who's like really great at like comprehending so quickly, like some other people. But I would like just one comic book would probably be a couple of videos for me. Who's sitting next to Charles? Moira McTaggart. She's a central piece of this, of Powers of Ten and House of X. This is why she's there. She is actually the most important character if we had to really get into it. Like her, I would say her, Professor X, Magneto, Mr. Sinister, a big time Mr. Sinister. They're like central pieces of the Krakoan Age. Apocalypse, but I would say more so those four that I just named. Yeah. Never got into God. Should I check it out? Read at least, give yourself time to read at least two comic books because it does get really good. Like really, really good. Honestly. Marvel Gods. You know what? I'm gonna give myself a challenge and cover it. I am gonna give myself a challenge and cover it. There's only one character who you might see that you know, and that's Doctor Strange, because he appears in it. I never got into Gods. Yeah, yeah. I think you should check it out. I think everyone should like check it out. Jonathan Hickman writes it. I'm already biased because when Jonathan Hickman is writing, I already feel like it's gonna be good, and it is good. Because when I read the first comic book, the first couple of pages I was not sinking into. I was not getting in sync. And then I started to read it some more, and then I was like, I'm digging it. Especially when some of the Marvel entities popped up, the cosmic entities popped up. They were reimagined, but I was like, yo, it's dope. Yeah, I'm still alive, bro. Mora with the power of Recon, basically. And that's what they're gonna do. That's my because what they're doing right now is there's a storyline in the Krakoan Age because it's about to end where Professor X, Mr. Sinister, who is inhabiting the body of Doug Ramsey, like a clone version of him, they're doing a couple of things, and Charles is making a hard decision, and he wants to go back to a timeline where Mora, before Mora got her powers, and then unalive her. I have a big problem with that. My problem with that is, for me, that just changes a divergent timeline. But I guess they're doing, I don't know, because you know how time travel gets a little crazy depending on who's writing timelines, because there are so many different, there's a grandfather paradox and all of that stuff, right? So I guess they're going through a linear path where, oh, I go back in time, I unalive that character, and it affects everything else. Nettie, what is up? But that's what I was thinking, Mr. Sinister, that if they go back and unalive Moira McTaggart, because they're already in a world where she existed, lost her powers, went into a robot version, the version that was in that timeline couldn't reset. So what they would be doing is creating a branched version of that timeline. It's very it. I just hope they're not going in that route in order to reset to get to what's happening next. You know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Because the Krakoa line was my favorite. I got pretty much every side comic book when it came to it. Would they allow it? You mean with the Loki storyline? How would that work? Which Loki storyline? Talking about the end of Krakoa end? Yeah. Uh I just it's just weird how they're doing that. He's the god of stories. I don't know. You see, it's could they be resetting into the X-Men 97? So they're going to reset into what we just saw. Or let me not say reset. Things are going to change into this somehow. How is it going to change into this? I'm not too sure. Oh, this is a horrible picture. Hold on. The one I had up before was better. It was a little bit clearer. Somehow they're going to change into this. And it has to be through a reset. So they're rebooting the X-Men into this, but how is my question. Are they just going to unalive Moira? Or are they going to... So here's where I would be okay with everything. If they go back and tell Moira, like if Charles decides not to unalive Moira and says, hey, I'm going to do the opposite of what you did to me. Because Moira came to him and said, "Read my mind, Charles," and then that's how in the 10th in her 10th time line in her 10th life, I want Charles to go back to Moira and then say, "Read my mind," and then it starts fresh from there moving forward. If that happens and then we get all of this, then I am totally fine because then Krakoa never truly died. It was just that this is technically, I know I sound very confusing right now. So there was a scene, a panel where Moira McTaggart was basically chained up, locked up, and about to be unalived by the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants was comprised of just Destiny, Mystique, and Pyro. And Pyro burned her alive. It's in, you'll see one of my videos if you check out the Lives of Moira McTaggart playlist. And she said, Destiny said, if you're lucky, you'll get 11 lives. I'm going back to that because I wouldn't count her robot form as 11th life. She's lived 10 lives, lost her powers and ability, but I wonder if what Charles is going to do, he's going to make a decision. His decision right now in the comic books is that he's going to go back and unalive her, and he's not really telling everyone, but that's his thought process. But what if he just goes back and says like, "Hey, I'm I'm going to give you all of the memories that I received from you. I need you to unalive yourself." And she's like, "All right." And then from that, she has all of the memories and she kind of bridges everything into what you see in this picture right now. That's what I would prefer. I don't want them to unalive Mora. They reset the timeline because that wouldn't fix anything. That wouldn't fix, yeah, that wouldn't fix anything. I'm just now thinking about it. If they were to go back, Professor X was to unalive Moira McTaggart before she has her powers, then they would move forward with the Krakoa age. They wouldn't reset everything. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud, everyone, because I'm wondering what they're doing to end the Krakoan age now. Yeah, that wouldn't do anything. Yo, Jay Zilla, thanks for the heart and thanks for the team bracelet. How are we liking these teams? The teams look, I'm open to it. I'm more close minded to how they how they transition into these new teams. Things will still happen the way it plays out, right? So if they were, that's what I was thinking. So if they unalive, so Professor X's goal is to unalive Moira Tiger before she gets her powers the first time. Oh, I see. Yes. Yes, yes. No, so if they were to unalive Moira Tiger before she gets her powers the first time, then we just don't have Moira Tiger. But things would still play out the same way. The ending that she didn't want would end up happening because there's no means of intervention or any kind of information that's being given. You know what I mean? For those of you who read the Krakoan line of comics, me too. I'm more interested in his team, which is kind of like is over here because that's kind of like the original team. Didn't her first life result in war? Yes, it did. No, no, not her first life. Her first life just resulted in her having kids, and then she got unalived of I think old age. The second life, she tried to meet Charles Xavier. She thought he was cocky, didn't really do it or something like that. Third life, she actually did meet him, and then there was one of them there where she got unalived on a plane crash. Sure, thanks for the follow. And then the next one, I think it was a Sentinel. Not the fourth. I think it was the fifth. The fifth was like a Sentinel type of raid, and she got unalived, something of the nature. And then the next one, she tried to unalive anyone who created Sentinels, kind of failed. Then the next one, she basically prospered and lived into like thousands of years using blood transfusions from Wolverine, unalive. Then the next one, she tried to align herself. That was the one. One of them, she aligned herself with Apocalypse, and then another one, she aligned herself with someone else. Yeah. I mean, the life where things pop off. I think that was the sixth life. The sixth life is where things pop off for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, yeah. I think it was the sixth or the eighth. I don't know. One of those. I would have to go back. It's been a long time. One of those lives is like that's where we get the introduction of like chimera based mutants. We get Rasputin the fourth. We get a couple others. Uh, we get that girl that I think was pretty interesting in terms of a lurk. She had a black brain of sorts. Yeah, yeah. I think it was the sixth. But anyway, I got to do more videos on this. Uh, so, but anyway, guys, it's 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I've been streaming, been talking for this podcast for about 3 hours. You guys were absolutely amazing. Shout out to everyone who was here. I'm going to do this again when the next episode of X-Men 97 come out. Nice to chat with you too, bro. Thanks for the follow. I am going to, a lot of what you see in this video, this podcast we've been doing, I'm going to chop it up just like that with that sound effect. And it's going to be transcribed into videos and into content. So anytime I did an explanation or a question came up, right? Not all of the video, but yeah. But with that being said, everyone, this is Zen from Zen Multiverse saying peace, love, and prosperity. If you're enjoying the content, follow, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm coming out with more content. Check out my link tree in the bio because I have a link to my YouTube, the Discord. So check out the Discord, guys. Join the Discord because you could jam out. We talk about things. We just, yeah, as you can see, I'm pretty chill, and I don't aim to be a comic book expert, but just a comic book enthusiast who just loves comic books in general, especially the X-Men. So, yeah, and I'm gonna make some more content. There's a couple of things I want to do. Marvel Gods now talking about it, but I also want to do some videos on the powers of a lot of characters. That's more of my expertise level, powers of characters, and I probably want to remaster the Lives of Moira Tiger videos a little bit better. Yeah, so yeah, I'll catch you all later. I am going to be streaming gaming later, probably around 9 o'clock. I'm going to do, what's the name of this game? Midnight Scenes. So it's not a popular game, but it's one that has like a nice little pixelated story. So we're going to be doing that around 8:30, 9 o'clock, depending on. But yeah, Most importantly, everyone, be great, be awesome, be good to yourself, and be good to others. Do right in the world, even if it's something small. Later, team.